Tonight on the Black Channel, you would think that the Biden campaign would be more secure than ever. I mean, after all, don't you have the most popular vice presidential candidate that you could imagine? The Black Channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the everlasting superfortress of intelligent black thought. We are the Black Media, and this is the Black Channel, and I am the Black Authority, and you are listening live to the only historically black college and university of higher education and learning in the entire cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because on tonight's program here, I know haven't given a whole lot of talk to it, because let me tell you, one of the most forgettable faces in politics, and somehow you didn't see it coming here. Now, once again, in our function here is the anchor man of the new Black Media. I called it from the very beginning. I told everybody exactly the way it was going to happen here, and it has gone down exactly the way that I said. Kamala Harris was brought in from the beginning to be their crash dummy. She was brought in. Now, folks have always said that Joe Biden was meant to be a one-term candidate. If Joe Biden was meant to be a one-termer, Kamala Harris was intended to be a no-termer. From the very beginning, they sabotaged her. They brought her in to play lackey and flunky. She fell for the bait. Jason, what is the bait? She fell for the idea that if she just kept her head low, didn't make any waves, didn't make any problems, why, either they would help her out or they would get together and then they would go ahead and work that out. And that is not what happened. That's not what happened at all. Not at all. So, now that Joe Biden is on the ropes, ostensibly you would think that this would be a situation where she would be up next. At least that's what you would think. That's what you would think, but it's not going to happen that way. Not going to happen that way at all. Roland Martin and other folks have been trying to say, what about Kamala Harris? It's disrespectful for them to be overlooking her. And that's what she was brought in for. Folks, listen to me. They never learn. They never, ever learn. Because they have no choice in the matter. They have to do it like that. They never learn. All these Negroes who think they're smarter than the folks that they circle the drain for. They think that they made it where they are because they're smart. You and I know that the only reason they're where they are is because they were chosen, and they already know what the outcome for you is going to be before they even get there. They already know what's going to happen to you. You're the one who's going to sit there and play into their hands, and all they want you to do is just sit still. Well, Jason, what is the point there? What is it they're trying to do? It is very, very simple. Very, very simple. Let me go ahead and show you something here. In the case of Kamala Harris, this weekend she is here in Louisiana. She's here in Louisiana, of course, for another useless festival, the Essence Festival. You figure Roland Martin is down there eating everything that's not bolted down. And this is what Kamala Harris has on her Twitter. It's a joy to be back in New Orleans this weekend to mark 30 years of Essence Fest. Let us always celebrate the diversity, depth, and beauty of our culture. Our culture. Our culture. I'm just curious, is it still our culture when she shows up at the Asian American Pacific Islander get together? Is this who is our? What is the our? I'm trying to figure that part out.
We got some secret guests up in here tonight. We got the first black woman.
Do you know how much of a brain dead dunderhead? First of all, you take a look right here. Oh, those arms or thighs they holding up in the air. That's the first thing. They're getting older. They're getting wider. Oh boy, year after year. It's just back in the 90s, it used to be a bunch of fly females. Today it's a bunch of Buffalo built broads. But oh boy. So we got the first black woman from a vice president that cannot define what a woman is. By the way, that's the only question you need to ask her. By the way, Kamala Harris, one quick question. Define what a woman is? Since you're the first black woman, define what a woman is. Define what that is. Because you see, if anybody can be a woman, then, well, Rachel Dolezal can be a black woman. If you're going to say anybody, however you want to define it. Okay, well, there goes that. There goes that. So already they tripped and fallen on their faces right out the gate. She sent other folk out there to vouch for her credentials. Oh, I'm sorry. Fabricate credentials. Folks. Who told old girl that this midriff was the thing to do? What? Folks, come on now. Here's a fashion faux pas that needs to die here. It's like, okay, they used to hide the muffin tops. Now they blowing their muffin tops out. It's like, we got the Pillsbury Dough Girl thing going on here. It's just everywhere you go. You go to the grocery stores, you go to the concerts, you go to the mall. It's just, there it is. Just, this is denial. Welcome to the Essence Festival. This is denial.
I will have to stop by to congratulate Essence on 30 years of the Essence Festival.
I'm hoping these are all folk coming from outside of Louisiana because we've already got enough calorically challenged people here already. So I'm hoping that, some of these turkey drumstick built chicks are coming from outside the state of Louisiana. Oh, and are these all empty chairs right there? Yeah, that looks familiar. Welcome to Essence Fest. Get a seat, any seat. Now, when they zoomed in on her, do you see all these empty chairs right there? Now, either everybody is standing up so far forward you can't see them. This looks like a bunch of empty seats. Oh, these look like empty seats to me. All right.
Of culture, so enjoy this evening. Let us always celebrate the diversity, the depth, and the beauty of our culture.
Diversity of our culture. Which culture is she referring to? She won't say what culture she's talking about.
Fun tonight, and I'll see you at the convention center tomorrow.
Oh, I'm telling you, so the whole purpose now is she's here to co-opt the Essence Festival, literally to deliver the black vote. Y'all have fun tonight, and I'll see you at the convention center tomorrow.
I'll see you at the convention center tomorrow.
Okay, we're here to deliver the black vote. So she sends other folk out there to say black. She doesn't do it. Did you get that? She sent other people out there to say black, and she doesn't say it. She says diversity and beauty of our culture. They use all these other surrounding terms that in days past we've used in proximity to blackness. She's saying everything except black. Boy, talk about a scheming, calculating individual there. Talk about that. Well, is there anything that she does actually stand for or believe in there? Well, actually, yes, she does. Oh boy, look, it's time for abortions. Oh boy, I'm telling you, she is stomping on the job for abortion. She's like, bring me your baby so I can throw this little bastard into a Cuisinart. We trust the women of America to make decisions about their own bodies. And then you start scrolling down through there and folks started asking questions. Simple things like, what is a woman? How can you trust women if you don't know what one is? So she is catching flack, and we are catching hell, and body blows are being thrown, and that was the whole thing. Do you notice? Here's my point right here. Do you notice that Joe Biden didn't go out telling you that he doesn't know what a woman is? Did you get that? Joe Biden's not out there saying that a woman is defined as anything you want it to be. You get that? You notice how the white men in the Democrat Party and the so-called liberal media, you notice that they push all their crash dummies out front to go say that idiocy, that it doesn't matter what a woman is. But you notice they're not saying the same thing about men. First of all, they're not going out saying it about women, and they're not saying the same thing about men. You get that? What I'm saying is that they send their crash dummies out there to go say the ridiculous, stupid stuff. That's what they do. They send you out there to make an ass of yourself. They send you out there to make a fool of yourself. They send you out there to say ridiculous, dummy things. They'll send you out there for that. Because that's your job. That's your purpose. Your job and your purpose is to deliver the black vote. But it is also for us to send you down with the ship. And it has already worked. Some other folks out there are trying to acknowledge that, but it already worked. It has already worked. Let me go ahead and take you over here this weekend. MSNBC, fair use, by the way. MSNBC has a few choice words here from Michael Steele, the former Negro in charge of the Republican National Convention. Listen to what he had to say right out the gate. Now, this is this weekend. Here she is at Essence Festival, and listen what they had to say.
Understand what we all know. In 122 days, we each have the power to decide what kind of country we want to live in. Understand what we know. When there has been a full-on intentional attack against hard-fought, hard-won freedoms and rights.
That was Vice President Kamala Harris underlining the stakes for our democracy at Essence Festival in New Orleans last night. The added scrutiny on the top of the ticket has also put a fresh spotlight on the VP and, of course, made her a target for Republicans. Back with us, Jennifer Palmieri and Stuart Stevens. I would say that Democrats made her a target before Republicans did.
Damn! Oh, Michael said the quiet part out loud. Oh, Michael said the quiet part out loud there when he said, I would say the Democrats made her a target before Republicans. And look at Simone Sanders there in the middle. Simone Sanders in the middle looking like a chubby Nas. What? Oh boy, she is unhappy because she's like, yep, this is the end of the line for me. Maybe you better keep them folks at NBC happy as they can be, because you are correct. That rest in B face, yeah, sure is. So, if you want to know why they are in panic mode, it's because you're supposed to be able to revert to Kamala Harris, and in 4 years, she is the most unpopular politician in America right now, but Michael doesn't want to say because it was engineered to be that way. It was engineered.
The added scrutiny on the top of the ticket has also put a fresh spotlight on the VP and, of course, made her a target for Republicans. Back with us, Jennifer Palmieri and Stuart Stevens. I would say that Democrats made her a target before Republicans did. Actually made our work a lot easier over the first 3 years of her term. What say you, Jennifer? How is this vice president positioned at this point in light of the first part of our conversation?
There's one thing I want to say that for just sort of like a public service announcement for people who want to have Kamala Harris's back. When the New York Post had a terrible super racist column yesterday, and some people retweeted the column and said, hey, this is racist. That is not helpful. That is what they are hoping you will do. They are hoping that you will take the racist content and retweet it so it spreads. You can just say, here's the thing. She is already, Trump is already starting to come after her. And whether she's continues to be in the vice presidential slot or she becomes the nominee, she's going to be, the president is,
All right, let's go ahead and examine a few things here. You all remember years ago we covered this when Nancy Pelosi was still in the House, Representatives, Speaker of the House, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her gang of 6 or 8 or 3 or however many it is. Remember, they tried to buck up. They tried to make their little power move, and Nancy Pelosi said, AOC isn't leading anything. She's the leader of like 3 people. I mean, smacked her down with no mercy. Completely mercilessly. And that's the exact same thing that happened to Kamala Harris. They brought her in specifically for the purposes of hobbling them. They brought them in for that. Now, what I want to do here, I want to show you real quickly the article that the lady on MSNBC there was just referring to. This is on your screen here is the article that they were talking about from the New York Post. So once again, we have these white supremacist code words. Once again, we have these white supremacist code words, but here is the problem. Kamala Harris is not qualified nor capable of confronting white supremacy. See, now's the time that you need to be able to put on your steel-toed boots and go stomping. But she hasn't built up any credibility to do so. She spent the last 3 years trying to be multicultural. And here's the problem. If you're a member of every tribe, you're a member of no tribe. You cannot be the spokesperson for the special needs of one tribe if you say you identify as a member of everyone. You can't do that. That's a little bit of intellectual masturbation that you play with yourself. It doesn't fly in the real world. So the problem is when you sit up here and say that Kamala Harris is black and Asian and white and female and Irish and Italian, you've diluted her. She's too badly diluted to go out there and be the special spokesperson for any one group. You've diluted her too much. This isn't going to work. See, she hasn't built up street credibility. It's not enough for you to sit up here and go out there and talk about, oh, look, we showed up at the damn Essence Fest. That's a friendly audience. Friendly audience, when you can actually get somebody to show up for it. What? But that's not moving the needle. She doesn't represent anyone, and that was the point. That was what she was advised to do. Joe Biden and the Democrats, see, I said this years ago, and I want to bring this all back around to you all here. You see, if you go take your political advice from Bowling Ball Martin, Roland Martin is going to tell you, damn that Jason Black and that new black media, they don't run anything. You just do as I tell you to, Kamala. That's the advice you're going to get from him. And what I'm saying, folks, is that when you're at this level and it's a game of inches, you can either attempt to quarantine or inoculate. You have to be careful when you play that game. Let me explain that to you all. You must be careful if you're going to attempt to play the game of choosing quarantine over inoculation. Let me explain what that means. When you identify that there is a disease or an illness, you really only have two options. Option number one, you can attempt to close it off somewhere, leave it alone, and wait for it to burn itself out where it is. That's quarantine. That's isolation. However, if it's determined that quarantine is just going to be marginally effective or completely ineffective, you got to get to work inoculating the disease, which means you're going to have to find a way to confront it head on and defeat it. You cannot simply try to isolate it. The new black media, they attempted for years to isolate us. And they thought they were, let me say it like that instead. They thought they were isolating us. Well, Jason, how does isolation work? Isolation and quarantine in the political realm begins with ignoring your existence. Don't say anything about them. Don't talk about them. Pretend they don't exist because your microphone and your influence is just so much bigger than theirs. And that brings me back to what you just heard the woman say here on MSNBC. I want you to hear what she had to say because what she's trying to describe right now is the same failed policy of quarantine and isolation.
She is already, Trump is already starting to come after her. And whether she's continues to be in the vice presidential slot or she becomes the nominee, she's going to be, the president will be 82 on election day or close to 82 on election day. So she's going to be a big part of this campaign. And, people need to know, she is tough enough. That stuff doesn't bother her. It's bothersome that that racist, misogynistic content is out there. It might chill, I think it's bad for young girls to see that. But you know what it's going to do? Fire up a lot of women as well, And so, but just for people to know, you're not helping her when you actually share that stuff. Just call it out for what it is. But everybody needs to know she's tough enough to handle this and she can,
You're not helping her when you share that stuff. Okay, ma'am. But the reason that people are sharing this and condemning it, by the way, the reason that people are doing that is because your candidate is weak. Your candidate has come across as weak and inept. She's not capable of taking these things on. She hasn't shown anybody that she's got the muscle or the aggressiveness to do it. So that's why other folk are doing it for her, because these are blows that are landing and she's not giving an answer. This isn't something for you to ignore. You can't let folks on major media outlets say things like this and you don't call that out. See, say whatever you want to about Donald Trump. He addresses anything and everything you say to him or about him. It doesn't matter what the newspaper is or whatever. If they print something, Trump is on your neck. He doesn't practice the strategy of isolation. You come at him, he throwing bolos back. He responds to it. So don't think you're going to get somebody blows in and that's going to work. You throw a shot at him, he's trying to throw 3 or 4 back. And what these folks are not willing to accept is that, your candidate is not doing an effective job of dealing with this, because it doesn't matter that you don't like hearing that. She's supposed to be making the case that that's not true. That's the issue. The reason why listening to inept, incompetent political advisors and operatives like Bowling Ball Martin is career suicide is because Roland doesn't actually understand what works and what doesn't. If their strategy of isolation were really effective, why didn't it stop us a decade and a half ago? Why didn't it stop us 10 years ago? We have been steadily and consistently growing in strength and influence year after year, and now we are influencing the national conversation. If isolation and quarantine was really an effective strategy, how is it that over a decade later we got y'all on the ropes? And then what they did was the dumbest thing they could do. They sent their incompetent operative Roland to try to confront us. He gets his ass handed to him every time he walks out here. Like Game said about Meek Mill, this nigga catch a L every time he go viral. So he's not laying a glove on us, but they keep sending him. I said this in 2020. I said this in 2016. I said this in 2012. If the Democrats were smart, which they're not, but if they were, they wouldn't be going to the Breakfast Club. You wouldn't be going to safe outlets or places you think are safe outlets, attempting this failed, futile strategy of pretending that if you just ignore us, we'll go away, like hives or poison ivy. What they should have been doing was taking us, if you were going to do something about us, you should have took us head on. You should have acknowledged how influential we were. You should have acknowledged how effective what we were saying was, and you should have took it head on. You should have confronted our talking points head on. You should have confronted cut the check head on. You should have confronted reparations now head on. You should have confronted Kamala Harris when folks challenge your black credentials. You should have confronted that head on. You should not have attempted to run from it. You see, let me explain something to you here. Little high yellow girl. When you sit up here and live amongst a bunch of white folk, you can sit up here and tell yourself this delusion that those people represent us. Yeah, I know, as absolutely contrary as that is, she's been around white people and she tells herself that white folk actually represent black people's thoughts. So if she's cool around the white folk, she's good over here with us. Then she goes and hangs out with their hand-picked select Negroes from every boule society there possibly is. She goes and hangs out with them. So you're off in this little bubble that in no way represents the rest of society altogether, much less black society. And you grow completely out of touch. And when it's time to actually discuss black people and talk to black people, you're not suitable to talk to anybody except Doug. That's the only person you can talk to is Doug. You have completely lost the ability to speak to us or converse with us. You lost it. Hell, if you ever actually had it. You hang out with a bunch of handpicked select Negroes and Negro celebrities, Negro politicians and Negro celebrities, and you think that they puppeteer the rest of the society, and maybe for a while they did, but very clearly the writing is on the wall that their influence is slipping away, and you're still sitting there with them. You see, when somebody challenges your black credentials, that's not something that you attempt to ignore. What? Folks, when someone challenges your black credentials, you don't ignore that. Especially not at her level, with as vulnerable as she is, with as big of a target as she is. Baby, you've been hanging out with them white folk too long. You can't ignore that. Just because Doug doesn't challenge your black credentials, just because you're black enough for Doug and black enough for Biden and black enough for Roland, that doesn't mean you black enough for black society at large. You've been around bad information for too damn long. You're not black enough over here, and you've been listening to people, well, are you black enough over there? Baby, you can't sit up here and ignore that. When folks start challenging your credentials, you got to drag out the paperwork. You got to hit the yard. You got to be ready to throw hands. Oh, I said it. You got to be ready to crash out and go all out. You cannot allow people to challenge your black credentials at the highest levels and you see it sticking and then you say just ignore that. That's how you get yourself buried, which is exactly where she is right now. All of us know that. You don't ever let anybody get away with challenging your black credentials. You cannot do that. That doesn't mean that you address every little old troll out there and whatnot. Yeah, ignore that nigga. But when you see them blows are sticking, and she knew this was a problem when she went on the Breakfast Club, not even after she was there, before she went, she knew her black credential issue was a problem before she got there. And instead of turning around and dealing with that, she attempted the stupid and the impossible. She attempted to just ignore it and it'll go away. Baby, this ain't going away. This is not going away. This is the new normal. And she did everything possible to reinforce it. This is the new normal. This is the new normal. That's where you are now. So she's sitting up here and she followed all kinds of bad advice. And the only thing ignoring, let me explain to y'all, the only thing that attempting to ignore us did was allow us to grow uninhibited. That was all it did. We didn't need you to amplify our voices, Kamala. See, when you're dealing with incompetent people who don't know how to communicate, don't know how to attract an audience, don't know how to market something, don't know how to communicate to a mass audience, you thought we needed cable television to do that. Nope, we didn't need a cable TV gig. Hell, your most incompetent people are the ones with a cable television gig.
And deal with it, nigga.
The most incompetent people are the ones with the cable television gills. We didn't need that. So you robbed yourself of the ability to A, confront us, B, confront the message. And the message has been allowed to run wild, and now you're trying at the last minute to still nibble around the edges. It's too late for that. It's too late for that. Your image is already set in stone there. She can't scramble 4 months before the election and figure you're going to correct this now. The time to be correcting this was 4 years ago, 6 years ago. That was the time to solidify your black credentials then. Barack Obama understood his black credentials were lacking. He's standing next to damn me, Jeremiah Wright. He was standing next to Reverend Jeremiah Wright. Everybody said, hey, look at this. He knew the folks to surround himself with. After he had gotten his ass kicked politically, he knew who to surround himself with. He surrounded himself with people with rock solid black credentials. Michelle Obama, Jeremiah Wright, he knew who to surround himself with. Kamala hasn't even done that. Kamala hasn't even done that. So now you're going to try to scramble at the last minute and try to cobble together some black credentials and some black support. She needs it now and she doesn't have it. See, here's what's supposed to be happening right now, you all. Here's what's supposed to be happening. Imagine, if you will, that instead of Vice President Kamala Harris, we have Vice President Marion Barry. Damn! Imagine that.
Alrighty then.
Now, you saw Biden on stage. You saw him slip and trip and fall on himself. You see people telling him, get out. Y'all, if Marion Barry was the damn vice president, we would have all come together, locked arms, and said, Biden, get your ass out of here. Let Marion do what he do. Let Marion do what he do. there wouldn't be any talk about Gavin Newsom or Gretchen Whitmer, and you got the damn vice president sitting right there. There wouldn't be no mess about that, and you wouldn't have to fight or argue to get us to rally. We'd already be there. We would already be there. So do you see what the difference would be? She's sitting up here and doesn't have a tenth of the popularity that Barry had. And that's why she's struggling. It's like, baby, it shouldn't be like this. If Biden is slipping and falling and he's fading, you're supposed to be having strong enough influence that everybody's already rallying around you. That's what that's supposed to be. That's what that's supposed to look like. It's supposed to look like that, where it's very clear that the momentum is starting to shift over to the vice president and everybody is like, we are safe and secure and we've fallen in line. That's what's supposed to happen. And she can't get it. It's not there, it's not happening, and she can't get it. And because she doesn't know how to make that happen. She doesn't know how to talk to black people. She's been hanging out with the damn Tom Joyner morning cruise show for damn so long that she thinks showing up at a festival or a rock concert that she's going to tap into the cult of personality. Baby, we've seen and heard too much. You were supposed to be getting in with your black credentials for the last 4 years. Let's be clear. Donald Trump has spent the last 4 years running for president. January 6th and January 20th were simply minor speed bumps for him. He has literally been campaigning for president ever since January 6th. Been campaigning. Never got off the trail. Kamala Harris should have been doing the same thing. She should have seen how weak her position was, and she did. She should have saw how vulnerable she was, and she should have been campaigning for her black credentials every day for the last 4 years. At the very least, heifer, go back to the damn 90s and get the death row discography and get the damn dates straight. What? At the very least. Go watch some VHS tapes of BET. She's supposed to spend the last 4 years gathering her black support. I'm talking about talking to black folk who got real support. She's been holed off in the damn White House. She's been hiding off in the White House. She's been trying to ignore everything that's been said. That was no damn joke. And I'm talking about from us here in the new black media. When we talking about Kwanzaa, when she's getting clowned about Kwanzaa, she's supposed to jump up and say, hey, don't test my gangster. We're not supposed to be sitting up here giving you kidney punches over Kwanzaa and you ain't got no response and nothing to say. Remember, if you're not responding to it, it's sticking. And it's stuck. After that, she didn't want to talk about that anymore. Baby, your credentials, listen to all these people, these inept people who are not running for anything, not running for any office, telling you to ignore it. No, don't. You cannot do that. You got to turn around and stare this dragon down. You have to turn around and confront this. But you hang out with a bunch of privileged, bougie Negroes. Y'all are going to the country club. You're going to the beach resort. You're going to wherever in the hell y'all have your LGBT meetups at. And then you're pretending like you can ignore this. So isolation and quarantine disastrously failed. Now you're attempting to, at the last minute, figure out how to inoculate something. But you don't have the expertise, you don't have the tools, and you don't have the medical facilities or the drugs to do it with. You don't have anything. The Democrats set you up for failure, Kamala. They set you up for failure. And by the way, y'all remember, I said this after Barack Obama was president. I said that's the Democrats' plan. The Democrats' plan is for Obama to be president, Joe Biden after Obama was president, I said the next president is going to be a white male. Did I call it or did I call it? I said, yeah, Obama's going to get his little brief run here. And after that, we're going to go back to white males. And that's exactly what it's been. If Kamala was going to overturn this apple cart, she would have had to start 4 years ago. But it starts with us. See, here's where she's stupid at. This idea that white society is going to come and stomp for you. You got to understand, a lot of these folks out here, I got to tell the truth right quick to the biracials out there. The problem is a lot of y'all, you grow up in these environments where you were almost white. You almost got to be white. And you're like, damn. So you spend your time thinking you're going to be a double agent. You almost were white, but you got to stick with the niggas. But you're really awkward with it because you don't really want to be one of us. But you don't really have the option of being white. So then you sit up here and you hang with them. You hang with white folk, or you try to with your non-black family, and they ain't really fooling with you like that. So then you're stuck over here with black folk and you're just a little awkward kid. And instead of you cutting the only successful biracials are the ones who cut ties. The only successful biracials are the ones who say, this is what it is. Those are the only ones that make it. The ones that divorce themselves from hyphenation or I'm mixed, or the ones who say I'm black. Yeah, I'm black. Those are the only ones who succeed. Everybody who tries to straddle that fence and thinking, you know what, if I ever get some white credentials, I'll just double back. Everybody who tries that, fall on their ass, fall on their face, and fail. The only ones who succeed are the ones who cut ties. The ones who say, this is what it is, this where I'm going to be, and you know what? Don't make me a partial outcast in non-black society. Let's just go ahead and cut the whole damn thing off. Those are the only ones who succeed. The ones who just say, forget about it. You go back through history, all the light-skinned folk, the only ones who actually make it are the ones who cut ties. And just say, hey, I'm 10 toes down. I'm over here. This is what it's going to be. Come rain, come shine, whatever y'all say, come what may, let the chips fall where they may, I'm going to be over here. Those are the only ones who make it. Everybody who, y'all got to understand, we've already had enough tragic mulattoes and traitors out here. We already seen every tactic you can pull. So as soon as we see you trying to straddle that fence, as soon as we go over the paperwork and the paperwork come back dirty, you can't straddle that fence. We look for them folk who try to play both sides against the middle. We look for the people who try to straddle the fence. We look for the people who sit up here and think they're going to be double agents. We look for y'all. We're already watching for you. We're already waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're not slick. You ain't going to get over and you ain't slick. So you're either going to be on this side, you all the way in, or you all the way out. That's just what it's going to be. You either all the way in or you're all the way out. You ain't 50% nothing. Here's the problem. Kamala Harris, baby, you cannot be equally entrenched in black and, quote, Asian culture, whatever that means. You cannot be equally ingrained in both. You can't be. And your life has shown us what you are. But let me explain y'all, first of all, you can't be equally ingrained in both cultures like that. Two cultures going in diametrically different directions. You can't be an expert at both of those. You cannot tell me that you are fully ingrained in the Asian experience and also fully ingrained in the black experience. No, you're not. That's a politician talking. That's not a human being. What part of the Asian experience is freedom? What part of the Asian experience is Kwanzaa? What part of the Asian experience is Juneteenth and Essence Festival? What part of the Asian experience is that? It ain't. It's not. And you should have spent all this time trying to polish and rebuild your black credentials, and you squandered it. So what will happen if Kamala Harris is chosen to replace Joe Biden for 2024? And I don't see that happening except under the most dire circumstances. But what will happen if Kamala Harris finds herself in a position of doing that? What will occur? Do you think that the Democrats have thought about that? I tell you they have, which is why they don't want it, because her whole job was to be a crash dummy and then to be scuttled before we got here. But folks, there are people who are afraid. There are folks who are scared right now. And let me show you one of the faces of fear. Over there on MSNBC, Mika Brzezinski, Joe Scarborough. This is right after the debates. Y'all, it got ugly over there. I've had so much video to review since the debates, the presidential debates 2024, that I'm still going through things. This is what happened over there, and let me tell you, it got ugly.
So
that was an indication
again,
that he was just not up to it.
Yeah.
Last night.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on a second. That I agree with everything you said, except for the last part of it. Everybody calm down, and I'll tell you why. I mean, it's fine to not spin what happened last night, and we're not going to. Again,
by the way,
he had
Mika,
a terrible night.
Mika, everybody's calm here.
No,
you're the only one raising your voice.
No.
Everybody is calm here.
But
Oh boy. It doesn't sound like marital bliss to me. Oh boy. Looks like matrimonial friction is setting in. I'm talking about live on the air. It's a good thing folks are recording this because MSNBC hasn't been showing this video. But by the way, yeah, y'all. Oh no, it's just that quickly. It's like, oh, do I sense marital friction? So they might be on their damn way to Judge Maybelline in divorce court.
Indication that he was just not up to it.
Yeah.
Last night.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on a second. That I agree with everything you said, except for the last part of it. Everybody calm down, and I'll tell you why. I mean, it's fine to not spin what happened last night, and we're not going to. Again,
by the way,
he had
Mika,
a terrible night.
Mika, everybody's calm here. You're the only one raising your voice. Everybody is calm here.
But again, it's the let's just immediately pull this. Let's end this. Let's find someone else.
Yes, sir, they are. Don't you understand what the problem is? They were real defensive because why do we gotta find somebody else? Because there's only one person who's really teed up for this, you know. What? Yeah, they real nervous over there. They are real nervous over there because they can see where this is going. Nobody supports her. Nobody wants her. Putting her at the top of the ticket, that she doesn't galvanize anybody. If she could have, she would have done it in 2024 herself. It's not like she spent the last 4 years improving her credentials. It's not like that's happened. She spent the last 4 years becoming ever more unpopular. And the reason for that is because she attempted the stupid and the impossible. She attempted to please everyone. And in the process, as I always told you all, she's only ended up pleasing no one. She's tried to make everybody happy with her. And in the process, she has made no one happy with her. And they only chose her so they could sink her, which is exactly what they did. Understand, for the Democrat Party power brokers, they are perfectly fine writing off 2024. They have no problem. There is no crisis. They want you to think there's a crisis because that's how they sit up here and excite you to go to the polls. There's no crisis. None. Not at all. 2024 passes. Oh, well. Oh, well. If Kamala had been intelligent, what she would have done was she would have come to us. She would have come to us on bended knee with hat in hand. She would have tried to connect to her people. We would be discussing a black agenda, not a damn abortion agenda. By the way, hey, Kamala, if you thought that's such a damn smart thing, take a look at your approval ratings, baby. And show me where this abortion thing is working out for you. Show us where this abortion angle is turning your fortunes around. Show us where this identifying as a woman is doing great and wonderful things for you. You've been doing that for years. How's that working out? Is it improving your standing? Is it improving your numbers? Is it improving your approval? Is it improving your popularity? Has it improved your power and influence in the party? What has that done for you? What has identifying as Asian and female, what has that helped you to do? Because I'm looking at it and I don't see where it's helping you. It's helping you to do what exactly? These folks are sitting up here giving you bad advice. Year after year, time after time. They're doing that and they're saying that, and now you've run out of options. Last but not least, if you think you're going to swoop in at the last minute and start talking about black economics as if that's going to save you, you were supposed to be talking about that for the last 4 years. The other thing you didn't pick up on, Kamala, is where it's hip to all the trick bag language. You can't use any trick bag language, any indirect language, rising tide, lifting all boats. You can bring out Steve Harvey. You can bring out Harvey Dent. I don't care who you call. That's not going to save you. You can't hoodwink us anymore with that. Kamala, you should have spent the last 4 years trying to make this case for yourself. There is no more time left. And if people panic, they're not going to panic and run to you. If folks start panicking, they're going to panic and run somewhere else. But they're not running to you. And that's a horrific spot to be in, but that's where you are. If she had talked to the new black media, we would have warned her about this years ago. Then again, she did hear years ago. They thought that Roland Martin was going to overcome us. They thought they could ignore us. Now it's just too late. If the Democrats do find a way out of this, it won't be Kamala Harris who brings it to them. Some of you might have been predicting something different, not sure. The real problem is that you don't have your finger on the pulse of what black people are talking about, Kamala. You don't have your finger on the pulse. The new black media has had its finger on the pulse this entire time, and we continue to do so. As a brief reminder here, we have 2 days left for our crowdfunding here for 8 a.m. We have 2 days left. While Kamala Harris has spent the last decade sitting around with people who don't understand, don't know what's going on, and don't have their finger on the pulse of the national conversation, we've been talking to everybody every single day since. While Kamala Harris has been attempting to pretend that white supremacy does not exist, Joe Biden has talked about white supremacy. How about Kamala Harris? What? While she's been sitting around pretending that it doesn't exist, probably because she's sleeping with it, we've been out here talking about it day and night. So you can't swoop in at the last minute and run a conversation that other people already have their credentials on. That's not going to win for you. I want to talk about what's going to happen next. I want to talk about what is going to happen after Kamala Harris. I wanted to talk about this tonight because there's a whole lot of confusion that's going on with people. A whole lot of folks might be confused about it, but I don't want you to be confused. We need to discuss what will happen if she replaces Joe Biden, and I'm just saying that as a way of saying what happens after Kamala Harris. Before we do, everyone here, we've got 2 days left on our crowdfunding. I want to thank everyone who has contributed so far. I want to know who's going to put us over 150 for tonight. This is our last weekend for our crowdfunding for 8 a.m. The documentary that started it all, 7 a.m., put Black economics and entrepreneurship as the issue on the map. That's the reason that we've got the influence and the windfall that we do today, because we took the bull by the horns and we picked it up and walked it ourselves. Now we don't want to hear about nothing else. If you're not discussing tangibles and empowerment in dollars, we don't want to hear nothing else. Folks are no longer shy talking about dollars anymore. But these folks over here are not going to get it done for us. We got to do it ourselves. I want everyone here. This is our last weekend. I want everyone to get involved and see why we're doing this.
We've grown up in a sea of white supremacy. I think that what slavery did for us is it created this sense that the white man's ice is colder and that we want to have a seat at that table and not a seat at our own table.
At LSU, we never had a conversation about the business of sports, about the money that's made. They don't want to have that conversation, because you have that conversation, that's what creates movements.
Most people are miserable. They're depressed. They hate their life. Why do people hate their life? Because they're doing things they hate. Because they feel like they're scared they can't pay a bill.
George Soros probably said it the best, and he said that when he was broke, nobody listened to him, but when he broke the banks over in Europe, he was able to start talking to the heads of state.
Are you listening? Is this thing on?
Let me tell you about the record industry. You walk into a major company, they got some of the prettiest women. You want some Perrier, you want some water. What do you need? Once they got you, it was just like that. What have you done for me lately?
A lot of those athletes in college, 99% of them will not make it to that high level NBA, WNBA, NFL.
If an artist is not a puppet, he's not going to be pulled to the top. It's the bottom line.
Friends is friends and business is business. Never intertwining.
It's been a long, hot summer, but we're up next. Right now, I'm taking a look in the chat room here. We got over 6,000 people in here live right now. Over 6,000 people in here live right now. If everybody puts in just $20, over 6,000 people in here. We got 1,100 backers, almost 1,200. 6,000 people in here live right now. That's the kind of thing that changes everything. When we get organized and mobilized, it doesn't take millions of people. Thousands of people have now moved millions of people. If you want the link for it, the link is in the description. Also, my mods will go ahead and post that in the chat room. And I want everybody here to get involved in that. Over 6,000 people in here live. By the way, Kamala Harris can't pull that. Roland Martin can't do that. Kamala Harris can't pull that. She can't do that, and Roland can't do it. No way. But I'm asking a question here for you all here tonight. They made a bunch of wrong moves. I wonder if they realize how bad that was. What will happen if Kamala replaces Biden for 2024? What will happen? We're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, the telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the blackest radio program in existence, the only one of its kind on planet Earth today. It's your turn to call in.
Hello, my name is Steve Burgess, and I'm the author of this book, Guidelines for the Successful Student, a closer look at parenting your school-aged child. In this book, I've explained the role of the parent and the student in addition to what accommodations, procedures, rewards and consequences and expectations that need to be in place to ensure student success from primary to high school. This book is available on Amazon.com. For more information, please visit my link tree at Easy One-on-One, and to access my latest podcast, A Teaching Moment with Mr. B. Thank you all for listening.
A white supremacist assassin seeks revenge. Corrupt FBI agents with evil intentions. Dangerous black collaborators dedicated to treason. Occam Jeffers must defeat them all and somehow survive. One misstep and he's a dead man. Join Occam Jeffers as he looks the devil in his blue eyes and tells him, "Black first." A sequel to the underground hit War of the Heart, Spirit of 1811 Publishing presents God Love Us, on sale at Amazon. Pre-order and save today. Visit spirit of1811publishing.com and show your love.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' Body Butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slavery and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. And the telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933, your personal access code to the Black media. And before I say anything else, I want to say that it has been an honor and a privilege to serve all of you for all of these years. It has been a thankless job in many regards, but I've never done it to get thanks. It's required sacrifice. I think one of the major reasons I never had children was because I gave so much of my time to what I'm doing here, and I regret nothing. I regret absolutely nothing. If what I've done has made it easier for you and your children and giving you and your children a better future, then I consider that to be time well spent. If that's all it cost me. So I consider them to be my legacy. And it's been worth it. All of us are required to give something. There's that old saying they say is, all gave some gave all. I don't know which side of that fence you'll be on. I intend to be on the side of the fence of some gave all. I'm going to leave it all right here. Whatever it is, whatever we got, whatever it takes, I'm leaving all mine right here. I'm not taking anything with me. It's going to be right here on the bricks when I go, whenever, wherever, however it is. And you all pick it up and go with it. Actually, you don't have to wait. Pick it up and go with it now. But whatever it is, do your best work. Whatever it is. Let's go ahead and go to the telephone lines here. Let me get a caller from area code 646. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
TBA, Anthony from Queens, New York.
All right, Anthony from Queens, and what's on your mind?
So you just posed the question, what happens to the Democratic Party after Kamala Harris? And I don't think we wait that long. If she doesn't, get the replacement nomination over Biden, the Democratic Party's dead. You got the old individuals who have been at the top. They've only cared about power for themselves. And what the Republicans have done is they've started to groom young white supremacists to take over. You look at the Supreme Court, you look at judgeships across the country, they're grooming white supremacists to take over. The Democrats, they're just, the leadership is just, interested in keeping power for themselves. So the Democratic Party is dead.
Well, I'm not going to say they're dead, but I am going to certainly say that if this election ends as disastrously and badly as it will, they don't really have anybody that I see in the pipeline who can galvanize anything. They've already named off the folks they're thinking about. Gretchen Whitmer, please. Gavin Newsom, double please. Hakeem Jeffries, this is the bench. This is the bench. This is your second and third string, really? And it just shows a tone deafness. Here's what I predict will happen. Mark my words. They're going to go find another candidate from somewhere else. Might be Wes Moore. It might be, though he strikes me as a bit stiff. But he is disciplined. He's got that Obama factor to him. So they're always trying to recreate Obama. They're always trying to reincarnate him. But I don't know if it'll be Wes Moore. I don't know who it'll be exactly, but it'll be somebody like him. I predict they're going to try to think outside the box next time, so they're not going to go with another white male because Joe Biden has made white males look bad, and they just put that on ice for a minute. So they're going to try to go with something else. And what will happen is they're going to choose somebody, and they're going to try to rerun the Obama playbook. They're going to try to talk specifically to our issues. It's going to be somebody who's going to come through the door, and they're going to try to bolster his black credentials because they recognize choosing a candidate who has no black credentials is not going to get us to show up. So that is what I predict they're going to do. They're going to go for somebody who they think that at least they can pass off as having black credentials. That person is going to go on a tour and say a bunch of things that will directly address some of what we're talking about with still the trick bag language, And then they're going to see if that flies. Now, I didn't say it's going to work, but that's what I predict is the playbook. The next candidate won't be a white male. The next one, they're going to go with something different because Biden has burned that image so badly. So look for a true Obama 2.0. They're going to go dig because they're going to have plenty of time to go look for him. They're going to go digging through the crates and see if they can fabricate one. That's what they're going to do. In my opinion.
Well, they tried to, we're hip to the game now. So the non-FBA, bordering on Tether, Wes Moore, I think black Americans see through it now. I don't think it's going to work, personally.
Yeah, I mean, here's why they keep failing, and here's why going into the future is going to fail. The civil rights generation did not consider fence riding to be a deal breaker. Damn! That's the difference. The civil rights generation and the baby boomer generation did not consider fence riding to be a deal breaker. That's why they say that sick ass phrase about you got to play the game. We ain't playing no more games. Our generation is not playing no games. So they thought that was a cool thing to do and they thought that was acceptable. Things have changed. And if the political parties do not update their lexicons and update their files to take into account that we don't see fence riding as acceptable anymore, if they refuse to do that, then things only get worse for them. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 301. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, how's it going, Jason? This is Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay, your phone broke up on you there. What's your name again?
This is Gary, caller from Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay, Gary from Baltimore, and what's on your mind?
Well, similar to what the last caller was saying, I think they want to, I don't think they want Kamala to really be the face, to be honest, but at this point, they don't really have a choice. Biden is either going to die in office or he's not going to make it to the election. But with Kamala and her not having any credentials in terms of being tied to the black community, the only person I can really think of that they may be able to sort of push on us would be Wes Moore. Now, he comes from Jamaican and Cuban descent out of Brooklyn or the Bronx, New York. His wife, though, is FBA, but he calls himself, a son of immigrants. So you got that whole people of color, BIPOC thing going with him. And I was just listening to him not very long ago. He was at a conference, the Aspen Institute, where they were talking about how to basically lift up black boys and boys of color in terms of, graduating college and basically becoming more upwardly mobile. And he's really the only person at that now, anyway. Now, after having listened to that, I really see him as really the only person who could plausibly make a push and get the vote of the majority of white, suburban, educated Caucasians, and then with his, personality and his FBA wife, possibly reeling in that suburban, black population and basically that college-educated population that's, dead hard.
Well, it would depend, because here's the issue. Barack Obama was a lawyer. And so he learned that's how he learned, was make persuasive arguments for himself. And he doesn't really tie himself. You can't really name any geographic location in America that he would come from. In Wes's case, okay, that northeastern thing in New York and all the area. Okay, that's him. But not Obama. So Obama just learned to be a citizen of the world. And that kind of served him. In the case of Wes, I don't think that works for him. Now, let's talk about his wife. I don't know what she does. I don't know how personable she is. I don't know how articulate she is. I don't know what her black credentials are. If her black credentials do not far outweigh his, she's already starting at a deficit. But here's the other issue. Take a look at what happened in 2020, because this is what Wes would have to deal with. You saw Kamala get knocked out. You saw Cory Booker get knocked out. Both of them got knocked out for the same reason. Out of the gate, it was clear they didn't have black support. Out of the gate. So unless Wes Moore makes some deal behind the scenes like Tom Daschle did with Barack Obama, where it's like, look, you're going to be the guy and we're going to push you regardless of what anybody else does. If Wes actually does have to get out there and throw elbows and compete, he's probably going to go to the internet first like everybody else did, which is going to mean that he's going to run into these questions sooner, not later. And if the answers online are not satisfactory, then the campaign for him is over before it even started. Also, I think we have exited the era of your wife being your beard. I don't think that's going to work anymore. Barack ran that into the ground. Michelle Obama is not nearly as popular as the media wants to tell themselves. So I think we've pretty much exited the era of if your black credentials ain't together, your wife can be your beard. And you can just go around and sweat. If you ain't got black credentials, just wave her around. We've seen that before. So there's the problem. It worked with Obama in 2008. After that, it was nothing but diminishing returns. You don't even have that to tap into anymore. Now you're going to start with a new fresh person? Problem. We're on the lookout for it now. We're on the lookout for it. Sure. We're on guard for it. So we ain't going to go for the fake talk from him and with him being in office, and damn sure not from somebody standing next to him who isn't. So mark my words. I think unless she has just been some undercover pro-black person we just don't know about, without the credentials, it's not going to fly this time. You can't sit up here and parachute in and say, take my word for it, the credentials are there, did not give a good speech. No, we checking paperwork now. We're checking paperwork. Everybody is on guard. Everybody's looking. The scrutiny is heavy. We're checking paperwork. And if the paperwork come back dirty or worse, nothing comes back at all, yeah, it's over. So I don't know who she is. I don't know how she operates. I don't know how qualified to talk she is. But rerunning that Michelle, I think you're correct. Now, let me say that before I let you go. I'm saying what you're saying is correct. That certainly in their minds on paper, it would work if they're trying to replicate Obama. Well, on paper, this looks like it should be viable. Yeah, you also thought Kamala was going to be viable. You thought Corey was going to be viable. Yeah, everything looks good on paper. As soon as it hits the road, that's when the wheels start falling off. I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah, just to piggyback on what you were saying, I mean, the Baltimore Sun, the Washington Post, I mean, these mainstream Democrat-centric sort of papers, like, I'm hearing more and more in the media in terms of him being president. I didn't hear that even 2 months ago, even a month ago, being up here in the DMV. I never heard this. Now, all of a sudden, after the bridge collapse, I'm just seeing more and more Wes Moore. Everywhere I go, I see people talking about him potentially being the candidate. I find it weird, because he hadn't really accomplished much yet anyway. But again,
well, I mean, look, when you're talking about going up against Republicans, Democrats have always been weak as far as military credentials. Wes got that. So like I say, there's certain weak areas where Democrats historically are weak and expect to get attacked on. So in that regard, Wes kind of has that. He's not giving off those Andrew Gillum vibes, although we haven't peeked through the files yet enough to find out, to verify that. So just in case a nigga come falling out the closet, I don't know. I'm not saying there won't be, but like I say, so far that kind of thing right there, military service, ain't a bunch of hoes hopping out the closet, side babies, and all this old kind of stuff you'd be looking for. So far he doesn't have that. There's not a meth video out there somewhere. At least if there is, they didn't do a good job hiding it. So some of the more obvious, blatant things that would knock you out of contention, that's not there. And a big plus that Democrats usually don't have is there. So you can see, once again, I'm just saying, for people on paper, the knocking down the Fred Scott Key Bridge, put him in the national spotlight, because he was kind of there before, but as a black governor, but now he's really in the spotlight as a result of that. So he was on TV all the time. So that reminds you of like when Governor Cuomo in New York during the pandemic. So he was on TV giving updates every day and stuff like that. So that's the kind of thing that a politician can use to raise their profile. Cuomo did it in New York. Wes Moore has done it in Maryland. So that's really why his profile has been raised. So it wasn't something that they counted on. He was already one of the names they were looking at before. The bridge things certainly elevated that to a new level. He didn't vomit all over himself, and he didn't fumble the ball. So it's basically an opportunity for him to look like he's leading something, even though in reality it's like he's just giving today's update. But that's what they build on. Welcome to the world of politics. Whether there's anything else under the hood, time will tell. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Just look for them to try to repackage him as Obama 2.0. Jason, what are you looking for? Folks, I'm looking for Wes Moore to start talking about hip hop. What? That's what you look for. If I am correct, and we'll see if I am, if you want to know if they are narrowing in on Wes Moore as their candidate, look for Wes Moore to start talking about hip hop and his favorite rap albums. Mark my words. Look for that. Because that's what they've done with every damn body else. Come on now. Folks, this is the only place. When you have white folk informing you, they're going to sit up here and tell you rap and movies and Schlitz malt liquor. So take my word for it here. Just understand this is the same thing they always do. Look for him to bolster his own black credentials culturally. Look for him to start talking about hip hop and his favorite rappers. When you hear Wes Moore do that, that's your clue that they narrowing in on him being the guy. No, I'm not joking. I'm serious. I meant every word I said. I am predicting for you all what the marker is you're looking for. The marker you're looking for is hip hop and R&B or something like that, because right now he doesn't have that. Show me Wes Moore's black credentials anywhere. Fraternity, sorority. Who are his black friends? Who are Wes Moore's respected black friends? Hell, have you seen a picture of his wife if you don't live in Maryland? So mark my words, if they're gonna try to bolster his black credentials, they're gonna try to name something that we can all identify with and we all have in common, and that means rap and hip hop. Mark my word. Wonder if it's gonna be Nikes, Chuck Taylors, or Adidas. I wonder if the shoe is gonna be Nikes, Chuck Taylors, or Adidas. Caller from area code 323. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Jonathan, calling from Los Angeles.
All right, Jonathan from Los Angeles. And what's on your mind?
No reparations, no black vote. I have two things to say. Number one, you have never seen Kamala Harris spend her money at black-owned businesses in the cities of Los Angeles, Houston, Atlanta, or Washington, D.C. And speaking of Washington, D.C., we have never seen Kamala Harris donate any money to Howard University. But she desperately needs the black vote now because this is an election year. No reparations, no black vote. If you don't spend money at black-owned businesses, no black vote. That's number one. Number two, black people, always remember the fact that Kamala Harris told the GRIO that she would not do anything specifically to benefit black people. Always remember, that's what she said back in the year 2019. This woman is a bigger fraud than Rachel Dolezal. And her credentials and credibility with black people are receding faster than Roland Martin's hairline. I'll land my plane there. Goodbye.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight here. Yeah, it's moving back faster than Roland Martin to the buffet. All right, caller from area code 562. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, this is Angela calling from Long Beach.
All right, Angela from Long Beach, and what's on your mind?
Yes, thank you so much for your genius and your work and opening the minds of Black American Negro freedmen, descendants of the emancipated. You are appreciated. Kamala doesn't stand a chance. We've got the demon rats on the ropes, and that's the way I see it. I see a clear pathway now with the help of the ancestors for Trump to win. I believe he must win if we're ever to see a dime of reparations, because he is for deportation and closed borders. When he was in control of the country, black unemployment in California was 5%. And they weren't spending our reparations and our taxes and our votes, 40 going north, on proxy wars and our ethnocide. You see, this is problematic with all of these immigrants. Out here in California, we're down from 17 to 3%. And as California goes, so will the nation go if we don't deport and close these borders, because what we set ourselves up for is to demand reparations from anti-Black American Negro freedmen, Crayola wanton white supremacists. That is what the legislature is composed of out here. So, yeah, my prediction, if Kamala replaces Biden, they have put themselves in a dreadful trick bag, because they tried to hide Biden and his dementia from us. We've been screaming in the new black media forever that this was problematic. I didn't vote for Joe Crow. That's what I call him. I didn't vote for him or Kamala. I saw the writing on the wall that the only way they were to win was to steal primaries, and I believe, in my opinion, the last election. But anywho, I digress. I do believe it's going to be an epic fail for them, and I can't wait. I so look forward to it. Thank you for allowing me to share. You make it a great night.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. I mean, if the election were held tonight, sure, you got 4 months to go. And I say once again, 4 months is an eternity in politics. Anything could happen between now and election day. False flags, another pandemic. You never know. So I will not try to call it right now. If the election were held today, yeah, but it's not going to be held for another 4 months. So we will see. We will see. Let me get caller from area code 412. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Jason, my name is Renee. How are you?
All right. Hello, Renee. Where are you calling from?
I'm so sorry. I'm calling from Charlotte, North Carolina. I apologize. Got jet lag here a little bit. I was flying, and I heard you on my way on boarding the plane. Your broadcast last night was absolutely on fire. But I wanted to let you know, we were talking about Westmore. He wrote that book about the other Westmore. He went down there and shuffled out some dude who had a criminal record, and he wrote about the two Westmores. He was supposed to be this outstanding guy, great in school, Ivy League, while the other brother was still sitting in jail. Remember he wrote that book?
Yeah, okay, Renee, you have a point, ma'am.
My point is that when we were talking about how he was trying, you were saying something going back when I was listening to one of your people tonight, when he was saying that how's he going to get the black vote? You say something about hip hop. He don't even have street cred. He don't. He's just, like you said, Obama, Cory Booker 2.0. He's one of those straight leg guys who wants to be on the upper echelon of all things.
Well,
so my point
here's
is that
here's the problem with West, though. Here's the problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that I actually see a lane for him, okay? I actually do see a lane for him. Let me explain why. Or at least why on paper there would be. First of all, like I say, I mean, as far as black men, assuming, of course, he's the Democrat, assuming, of course, he's the non-LGBT Democrat black male. What? Assuming we ain't got another Andrew Gillum trying to smuggle himself in, assuming that's not the case, because like I say, we caught Andrew, we almost caught Obama, but we caught Andrew. So assuming it's not going to be a couple of dudes fall out that closet, I'm just saying in Wes's case, tall, kind of younger, the ladies are going to like him and stuff like that. If he comes across, he's straight-laced.
I don't know about that.
The dude they wish their baby daddy had been, just we got some benefits, girl. So things like that. So on paper, he's marketable. And I could see him showing up at the Essence Festival. Now, here's the only problem. I could see him showing up at the Essence Festival, but it's either going to be all good or it's going to go all bad. Remember, I want you all to think about this because this is going to sound funny to you when I say this, but think about this for a moment. When it was time to put their black credentials down and reference black culture through black music, Barack Obama did the singing, but didn't do the dancing. What?
Right.
Michelle Obama did the dancing, but not the singing.
Auntie, chill.
I'm not off on a tangent right now. I'm telling y'all, by the way, did you recognize that? Obama didn't try to dance. Michelle is out there dancing and getting down and every damn thing else. Okay, why do I say that? Because the person who's not raised among us gonna look awkward as hell if they try that. Ain't that right, Kamala Harris, Cardi B?
And deal with it, nigga.
Real talk.
I want you, folks, I'm not making this up. I'm like, by the way, that dancing thing, say about it what you will, that dancing thing kind of throw him. And what I'm saying is, Wes, there's a lane for him, but what if he gets up there and try to dance? He's at the Essence Festival and this nigga's up there like, damn me, Clyde Crash Cup, or, just Nevish. I mean, he's sitting up there all awkward and stiff and he starts trying to do the Texas two-step, and it's like, isn't this a Beyonce song? It's just, down in flames, the campaign goes. Down in flames, it goes. It'll be ugly. If he gets up there dancing like, damn me, Will Ferrell or Adam Sandler, it's over. So just think about that for a few moments. And I'm about to say, there's not a bunch of us looking at him with confidence that this is going to go well. Like, the music is going to start, and he's just going to be sitting there holding his little cup, looking around all strange and dazed. And it's one thing if you could sit there and do that and look G'd up. You know, it's one thing if you do that, be like Ice Cube or something like that. You can just put the shades on, look G'd up. Wes can't even do that. Wes can't even do that. So what is he gonna do in that? Now his wife looked like she would. She looked like she'd get there with a sorority. She looks like a soror. His wife looks like a soror. So we'll see. But in Wes's case, no, they're talking about Wes is an alpha. I don't know because folks just say things, but if he's an alpha, I don't know. Is he an alpha who get up on other dudes?
Did he look like an alpha to you?
Okay, no, here's my point. That's not necessarily a plus because have y'all seen them videos and alphas be all up on each other? Wasn't it Mark Lamont Hill? We can go down the list. These fellas in these fraternities and whatnot when they do their line dancing.
I'm talking about alpha male, not no alpha sorority, alpha male.
Oh man, no, he's got ways to. The jury's out. The jury is out on that one.
The jury's out on him.
Yeah, he looked like we give him an opportunity. He gonna be line dancing all up on other dudes like his boo thing. So it's just that's the only one I'm betting on there. It's just no. If I gotta put my money on it, I'll put your money on alpha male. I gotta put mine on it. Oh no. Let me hold this back here because the jury is very. I see that smile. The jury is very. When a nigga smile, his eyes closing up like that. That's the Carlton Banks thing. I'm like, is there some audio to go with that? Because I'm imagining that's how he sounds laughing. Like, oh hell, don't let him dance. I can see Roland Martin right now. I can see Roland Martin right now trying to take this nigga to the side. Come here, Wes. Come here. Let me show you something, Wes, because you about to make a fool of yourself out here. Okay, look. Left foot in, right foot out, to the side, left, right, spin around. Okay, nigga, you doing it wrong. Okay, we ain't got no time. You got 5 minutes to get this. Can you imagine Roland Martin is your damn dance instructor and you got like 5 minutes? Your nerves is shot. You should have started this years ago. So I'm just saying, y'all, when Wes finally gets to that dance moment, oh hell, it's all over. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Thank you for giving us a call tonight. Yeah, boy, that's what I'm saying. Oh, Wes I see that smile up there. Like, okay, Wes, it's time to dance. Everybody looking at him like, oh Lord, this is either gonna work or it ain't. This is either going to work or it ain't. This is either going to go very well or this is going to go very badly. So, yeah, and he don't look like he can sing. Damn! That's the other part. You know, at least Obama could do the Al Green thing. I'm like, oh, Wes don't even look like he can sing. So it's, oh, Wes, this, oh, man, I hope the nigga can make some collard greens because other than that, it's like, oh, you're just lost, bruh. You are just lost. So it's just no pluses at all. His wife was like, look, he's the non-gay one. Okay, well. All right. Call America code 917. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Pete, this is John from Brooklyn.
All right, John from Brooklyn. What's on your mind?
Good to meet you again and, talk to you again. I just want to ask you, because, this whole political thing, man. And you do your award-winning Black Pulitzer Prize award-winning journalism, because I know what it's like to be a journalist when I was in school, and the research that you have to go through to, make sure that your facts, your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed and everything like that. Will you ever, I got a two-part question, but I'm going to let you answer this first one. Would you ever, do a broadcast about a candidate that you might support?
I mean, sure. Depending on the situation, I do have candidates that I do support. Sometimes I have them on. So, I mean, I do have candidates that I do support under certain circumstances. So I try not to push things too hard, to be totally honest, because I don't want that to be the issue right there. I don't want it to really become a political program in that regard. So I try to push issues. And, if somebody lines up with that, I might give them a bar. So that's pretty much the lane I try to stay in that regard, because otherwise I feel like you become Roland Martin. And then it becomes about, okay, once you get mobbed up or booed up with a candidate, then it's like, okay, do I got to back all that stuff there? So I try to just tell everybody, look here, I try to stay focused on the agenda. But, I mean, it could happen. Sure. I mean, it has happened. And under the right circumstances, it can happen. So, yes.
The reason why I asked that, because you support Marcel Dixon, you know what I'm saying? And And I've been studying him for a little bit, and I see he's doing some good things out there. But I'm calling from New York City, and I'm like thinking about everything we're going to do over here. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't, everything you're saying is 1,000% accurate. Like, it's no bull crap behind it. And it's like, you talk about these people, and I listen to this every day, and I got to live on the New York side because everybody else, Atlanta, California, whatever, they got to live that side of all these people that you talk about, all these people that's in the office and this. So, like, undermining, you know what I'm saying? I deal with people personally that want to undermine the reparations agenda. I'm like, God damn, why would you not want to get that? You know what I'm saying? Why would you insulin, student loans and shit like that? You know what I mean? Like, come on, bruh. You know what I'm saying? That shit really frustrates me.
Because here's what's happened in politics. What they've done is they've perfected, because this is what they do, the skill of getting groups to talk and think like groups, but to vote like individuals, particularly where black people are concerned. So even though we have an issue with group economics, and even though, as Dr. Claude Anderson has taught us, that racism is a group sport, even though we recognize that right there, the real thing is that when it comes to politics, then they start trying to split you up and get you to vote for specific things. So if you're a woman, well, I mean, you ain't just black, you's a woman here. So then they start talking about the Fearless Fund. I'm like, okay, you don't see none of them white folk helping you with your Fearless Fund. Justice Department has left you dangling. You black. Or if you're LGBT, or if you're from the North, or you're from the South, or, oh, do you got some babies out there you want? You need an abortion. So it becomes, that's how that works. If you want to know what the divide and conquer strategy really is, it's intended to, okay, you have group issues, but when it comes to politics, we try to find a niche. We try to find a personal issue, something that you're personally interested in that will hopefully get you off that group thing. And that's the strategy.
That's sad. I mean, I'm 49 years old, and I got kids. And it's like, I don't want to see my kids go through the same situations that we went through. My mom's, she when I was 18, she was like, yo, Democrat, vote Democrat, no matter what, vote Democrat. And then I've been through the Bush years and, the both Bushes. And the best years we had over here in New York was Clinton. He definitely did some good things, to make sure that we stayed employed and make sure we made some money. And after Bush, it was Trump. And I'm like, what the hell? Why is people over here today complaining about Trump like that? Like, what he did so bad? Oh, he touched some girls' asses back in the day before he was going to be a president?
What's happened is that I warn people about the gamification of politics, where you allow them to turn politics into a sport like the NFL. And so essentially it becomes your team. So you become invested in the team, but disconnected from the team's outcomes. So whether the team wins the game or loses the game, you're a Detroit Lions fan because you in Detroit. You're a Tampa Bay fan because you in Tampa Bay. And so you're invested in the sport and you're invested in the team, but then they've got you divorced from the team's outcome. So whether the team wins or whether the team loses, you're not expecting anything except for the right to show up and cheer for your team. And now they're literally telling you, shut up and vote. So whatever the outcome is, you're not invested in that. And you shouldn't expect anything from that. You're getting your reward just being allowed to sit in the stadium and shake your pom-poms. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 202. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mr. Black, man, it's the Buck Horse right here, man. I know we done disagreed certain things about whatever, though, but I want you to know I always respect your broadcast. You can check all your likes, everything. And one thing for sure, I got my aunt up and my little baby niece up in the room right now. And when she listening, she slammed the door up on me. So she's listening to everything right now. She's in the room crying, because I believe that what she was saying, oh, no, Jason Black, no, he's not about to retire, man, from Black social media. I just got involved with it. So please, Mr. Black, I know she's listening to her TV right now. Can you please tell her that you ain't going nowhere? That's all.
No, I'm not going anywhere. I will be right here.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Black. I know she heard that too.
Thank you very much.
I can hear her banging on the wall.
Young lady, I will be here, and I'll be here for her too, by the way. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. I was here for the Buck Horse. I'll be here for the kids. Trick love the kids. Let me get caller from area code 714. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
It's Eric calling from Los Angeles. First of all, I want to say thank you, Jason, for being yourself. And Democrats ain't got nobody. They can't run Michelle, like you said the other day. They can't even use their kids. And have you noticed Donald Trump don't took his time picking his VP, but at the same time, I noticed the same thing you just articulated about Westmore. The Republicans has been doing that with Byron Donalds lately. They've been pushing him out there. He said he's not for reparations, and I think Donald Trump knew something was going to happen with Biden and taking his time to pick his VP. But black people are important again, and we need to stay important to ourselves. And when this thing blow up in their face, they're going to come around.
Yeah, I mean, look, about Byron Donalds, like I say, I mean, it's just, I mean, he's on the Republican side there. You're the designated coon. And they all play dumb about it. Let's be very, very clear. In reality, these black politicians on the Republican side, y'all got to understand it's all game. I know it's hard for a lot of folks to accept that. It's all game. They know full damn well racism very much exists. What they've done is they've tried to choose a side where they think there's less competition. So they've chosen a side where they can be the token Negro. And so, oh, you need me because you need some black representation on your side. That's the game they're playing. Then when they get in position, they pretend that's not what they're doing. Remember Clarence Thomas? Clarence Thomas was a Bush guy and ain't no racism, this, that, and the other. The minute that he was drugged in front of the U.S. government, this is a high-tech lynching. I thought there wasn't no racism. What is you doing? And as soon as he got on the Supreme Court, ain't no racism. So, I mean, it's a game that they play. They're only out for themselves. That's the real point I want y'all to know. They're just out. These guys will back that line as long as it benefits them. The second it doesn't benefit them anymore, then they abandon it.
I have one more question for you. I know it's been going on almost 3 years now, but is there any chance you, Tariq, and Professor Black Truth can do another broadcast again?
I mean, certainly there's a possibility of that happening there, but here's the real thing about it. I want y'all to understand here, I don't want you to wait around for special events or anything like that, because the bottom line is the only thing that concerns me when those kind of things happen is like, what's the agenda? And I'm talking about for the folks listening. If you're putting it into practice and if you're executing it, like I say, that's my biggest thing about it is I want you all, you'll be here for a few hours on Sunday, and then tomorrow morning, I want you to pick it up. Not even tomorrow morning, tonight. I want you to pick it up and run with it.
The reason I asked that, Jason, is because I was thinking maybe, you guys can get together and maybe we can do like a fundraising for a legal fund that all you guys always talk about, and start raising money collectively, like how, some guys raise money for schools, others for a real estate fund, millions of dollars. And with all three of you guys' voices collectively, I was thinking maybe, we could start getting that legal fund that all three of you guys always talk about. And then we can start funding our own
legal,
like you
okay,
said.
Legal fund. I'm not sure, brother. I'm not sure what legal fund you're referring to.
I'm not legal fund. Excuse me. A fund, just a pool of money to where we can start our candidates. Excuse me. Sorry if I'm not articulating that correctly.
Okay.
So we can start building our own candidates and stuff. Excuse me.
Well, here's my thing about that. My thing about that is I just don't want that to be a situation that I don't have a problem with the idea, the concept. The thing I do have an issue with is folks looking to somebody else. Because here's the thing, I'm far from the richest black person in America, far from the largest audience. If you're in a place like California or Texas or whatever, the first thing I want you all to say to yourselves is, okay, what can I do where I am? As opposed to, how can we get these other folks over here to do X, Y, Z? Let me give you a case in point. When you're talking about private equity, I want y'all to understand something. In non-black society, this is not what occurs. This is a teaching moment. In non-black society, this is not what occurs. They be looking at themselves. They be looking at how they get their funds together. They be looking at how they can get their plan together. And then you get something, and we got something, and they got something. And then you have synergy in that regard, as opposed to, how can I get Tariq to do X, Y, Z? How can I get Tariq to move on this? As opposed to, okay, why don't I take this thing by the horns? Because let me ask a question here. This is the reason why I'm asking this. Brother, how much money in cash do you have in the bank in savings?
I got 41,000 saved.
Okay. That's perfectly fine. What's the plan?
You know what? That's a good question.
Okay.
Being out here in California, I'm scared to spend it.
Well,
I mean, that's it. Hey,
okay,
you,
slow
you
down.
asked a valid question.
Well, slow down. We're going somewhere with this. Slow down. We're not at the end of the road. Okay, that's one thing, but we're not out of options here. How many professionals do you know? And I'm talking about real professionals, not business card professionals. How many actual skilled professionals do you know? Real estate brokers, investors, real estate brokers, agents, doctors, lawyers. How many do you know?
0. I don't know any, brother, to be honest with you.
Now, if I go talk to your local Asians, do you think I'll get the same answer?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
So there's the thing I really want you to keep in mind right there. That one right there. If the only connected, competent people in the room is just Tariq, or even say me and Tariq, there's where the problem is, because you're too vulnerable. It's only 2 people. And you're depending on them, and if they don't get it together or get it done, it doesn't work. What I'm saying is that's literally not the way any other group works. So if you're in California, the Asians, are out there in Acadia, if you're out there like that, they get together. In San Mateo, you got the Filipinos. That's not even national. Take a look at what they do there. So what I'm saying is that you got $40,000 in the bank. Okay, fine. $40,000 in the bank. That would be 20% down, or 10% down, depending on certain government programs or whatever. If you're going to buy a piece of property, you can put 10% down. 10% down on $400,000. Now, that doesn't necessarily, you can't do that in Los Angeles necessarily. I understand that. But what I'm saying is, have you even run the numbers with somebody to find out what that is and to see what you can actually do? Now, this is what I've been talking about for 20 years. So that's what I'm saying. As soon as somebody comes up here, I'm like, wait a minute, hold on a second. Let's get you gamed up and let's get you strong up so that you're strong, and then you can get together with if you want to talk to the rest of us, then we can do that. So you're not helpless. You're really, really not. And I'm not just talking to this brother on the phone right now. I'm talking to everybody listening to me right now. Whether you're in New York, whether you're in LA, whether you're in Dallas, whether you're in Houston, Jacksonville, wherever you are, keep in mind that that's how other folks work on that. They don't look to their politicians. They don't look to newscasters. They don't look to celebrities. They look to themselves in that regard. And then when they got their weight up, then they can contribute to these other things. Remember, I got to remind you all again, I was the guy who got us pulling the campaign finance records in Ferguson, Missouri. I was the guy who went and tracked down the campaign finance records for the mayor and the city council in Ferguson, Missouri after Mike Brown was killed. To show people that, by the way, you got folk in that city council who only spent $5,000, $2,000. Some of them didn't spend anything. Have you ever, for example, investigated with the campaign finance records for the city council there?
No, but it's funny you said that, because I've been thinking about with that Youre Martinez thing, the LA City Council.
Yep.
All the money that they gave away, I'm like, was it illegal? They didn't get punished, and I want to do something about it, but I don't know where to start. That's
okay. Well, let me go ahead and address. Let me address you. There's somebody else in the chat room. Let me address y'all. For those of you who don't know, practically every state in the union now makes campaign finance records posted online. So usually it's through the Secretary of State's office. But just about every state in the union now, campaign finance records are required to be public records posted online. So no matter where you are in America, you can go. I'm not talking about just the federal level. I'm talking about your state and your local level, for example. I'm not expecting you to go throw elbows, because in reality, there's only so much that happens at the federal level. Of course, we need to keep that in mind. But by the way, there's a whole lot happening at the local and the state level, too. Remember, the reparations conversations really picked up steam because of what's happened in the state of California. But most folk here can complain about the politicians. And it's like, okay, how do you mount something against them? If you're going to help another candidate, the first thing you need to know is, well, how well funded is the folk you're going to go up against? They got their campaign finance records online. You can see what they spent to get their seat. Now, that doesn't necessarily even mean that you need to spend what they spent. But what I'm telling you is, by the way, what if you found out that they only spent $50,000? You're telling yourself they spent millions. And in many cases, it's not even measured in millions. It's only measured in thousands. If you attempt to run for office, they're going to go check to see how much you've raised. That's why that matters. So if you all really want to be serious about this kind of stuff here, whether it is business, politics, education, or anything else, go check the numbers before you do anything else. Check the numbers before you do anything else so you can make practical plans. If you want to back political candidates, for example, I'm a firm believer in, you can choose just one, depending on where you are, because I also think we need to be strategic. I don't think it's a good idea for us to just go anywhere. I think that we need to be strategic. When you got something like Brother Mays, he was a bit of a firecracker, but I'm like, okay, take a look at that district and take a look at what they elected. I think that means something. When you take a look at what they elected and who they sent there, I think that matters. I really do. And I think we need to be strategic in that regard, because that's what these other folks do. They look for places where the electorate and, the political sentiment is leaning in that direction. When you start doing things like that, I think that makes a difference. You don't have to get the whole city council necessarily to start. I think those are the kind of things you want to take a look at. But I will tell you one thing for certain. You're not going to get much done if you didn't do any research or if you don't know what you're up against. So for everybody out there, that's great. That's wonderful. But among black folk, the first thing we tend to do is say, okay, can I get LeBron James to do X, Y, Z or whatever? And in the process, it becomes rallying around one person. And what that does is leave us vulnerable. Everybody else doesn't do that. If I start talking about white folk who contribute to politics, we'll be here all damn day naming people. It's never just one. They never just rally around one. They're all over the place. It's an infestation. And we need to operate the exact same way. I need folks to start thinking that we need to operate the same way. So you're out there, brother. You got folk out there who will do those things if you're serious about it. But folks, we got to stop being afraid of each other. And we got to stop, saying that, well, Jason knows how to network or Tariq knows how to network or whatever. We need everybody to be able to do that. Because I'll tell y'all one thing. Niggas can network like a son of a gun when they want some draws. What? Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Yeah, dudes be networking like a son of a gun. If they trying to push up on the broad, all of a sudden they missed the magic. They missed the magic. They missed the friendly. It's just, hey, how y'all doing? It turns to that. It turns to that. So what I'm saying is we network and we get together with folk. Okay, we don't know no lawyers, but 3 strippers. Damn. You in Atlanta. Well, can I get Jason to do the next one? What's the problem right now? Well, Jason, you know people. Okay, well, do you know any lawyers, doctors? No. Do you know Candy Doll with the G-string down there in Magic City? Oh, yeah, I sure do know her. Damn. I know Candy Doll. I know Big Mama. Okay. I know Asia Doll. Oh, well, that's your network. What office are they running for? What candidate are they contributing to? Well, they is concerned about the abortion thing. They worried about that. I'm like, okay, I don't think they on our team, brother. So I'm just giving you all an example. Just one example. Let me get caller Miracle 347. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Peace to the Black Authority. Peace to the Black Media Experience. Anthony from Brooklyn.
All right, Anthony from Brooklyn. And what's on your mind?
I'm going to give you a possible scenario, then ask a question, and I'll listen off air. Jason, they want both of them gone. And I don't think Biden is going to survive. I think 2 weeks or less, he'll probably be gone. The problem will be Kamala now. They're going to have to give her something. So here's the scenario. If Kamala cuts a deal with the Democrats that would allow them to pick who they want to pick to replace Biden.
No.
As long as she remains the VP, I think she'll go along with that.
No.
And I say that because...
She's not going to do that.
You said no?
No. She's not going to do that. No. Here's the problem. The problem is Biden at best would be a lame duck. She has no incentive and no reason to cede any ground to him. Technically speaking, she's got nothing to lose by running the tables and try to get that thing for herself. She got nothing to lose. The worst that can happen is they say no, and she got to fight the party. That's the worst that can happen. She has nothing to lose and everything to gain, because otherwise she has just become a political dead end. Why would she give them that when there's nothing to be gained? She might as well go ahead and stand her ground and see if she can bully and elbow her way into it. Otherwise, what you're saying is she's conceding to be a political dead end. This is different from Keisha Bottom B down there in Atlanta. They scuttled her at the state level. They scuttled her as mayor. So she never made it past that level. Kamala has made it literally within a hair's breadth of the presidency. So she's got every reason to push this all the way. She got nothing to lose. So that's the reason why she's not going to do that.
I think she knows that she can't win this right now. I think she knows she can't win. So I think that
Untrue. No. Because if you're trying to speak for her and what she knows, what I'm telling you is that I think that and there is some evidence to support this. Technically speaking, it would be a hell of an uphill climb. It would. But what she would be gambling is that the country is more worried about Trump than they are about her. So that she would basically be trying to galvanize the anybody but Trump vote. Now, how big that is or viable it is remains to be seen. Most of us don't think it's that big enough to get her over the finish line. But that would be what she would be galvanizing. Not a pro-Kamala vote, but a, hey, y'all already know me. I have name recognition. I haven't really done anything to you. Yeah, you ain't did nothing for us either. And that's what she'd be riding on. So she's got nothing to lose. And the other thing is, by the way, Trump, 4 months is plenty of time for Trump to say or do something stupid. That's plenty of time for this thing to flip. So what I'm saying is it guaranteed? No. Are the odds in her favor? No. But what does she lose by running the tables? If she concedes and lets them knock her off and put somebody else in that place, she is conceding that her political career is over, and she didn't even put up a fight for it. Now
that's the point I'm trying to. I ain't saying it right. I got to get this out. She knows she don't have the type of support that I feel like she feels like she needs within her own party. So I feel like if she did a move like this, it would endear her to have more support within the Democratic Party. Whether they won or lost, they will feel like, we may owe her a little something. Sort of like Hillary Clinton back in the day when Hillary kept her mouth closed, played the supportive wife for Bill, and then when that blew over, they asked her, you got any aspirations? She said yes. And so they fast-tracked her to become senator from New York.
Senator from New York, but not for the White House. Remember, Kamala's already passed all that. First of all, Bill Clinton wasn't losing. He was winning. So that's the first thing. And he didn't need her for that. Now we're at a different point right now. Kamala has already been a senator. She's already passed that level. So she's already gone past all of that. So imagine if Hillary Clinton made it to the vice presidency. Is there anything you could do to get her to voluntarily abandon that and hand it off to Biden or anybody else?
But she had more support than Kamala has right now.
Okay, let's just say that we replace Kamala Harris with Hillary Clinton with the same poll numbers, same approval and everything. Would you be able to get Hillary Clinton to voluntarily surrender that to Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer, the Easter Bunny, or anybody else?
Definitely not. No.
What makes you think Kamala's any different? Now, unless they got pictures of her, with a mongoose or something. But absent that, what I'm saying is she didn't run for president because she doesn't want it. She ran for president because she does.
She didn't have the support.
Well, yeah,
she didn't have the support.
But she got the only support she needed from Biden and the party, and they said, okay, we're going to leapfrog you anyway because you're useful. I don't think she accepted the vice presidency because she thought it was going to be one and done. I think she accepted the vice presidency because she figured it's the only play to make. Because think about it like this: you're still in the game. Everybody else who she ran against in 2020 is out the game. She's still in the game, right, for better or worse. Now, when you talk about approval numbers, well, you're right. Approval numbers can certainly be discouraging, but we can name any number of politicians who've had terrible approval numbers and still made a run for it. Bill Clinton, Barack Obama. Everybody's had their situations where Donald Trump. Everybody's had their situations where their approval numbers were not very great or not very wonderful. Now, certainly in most cases, they're not as bad as hers are right now. But what the argument that would be made for her is, well, she hasn't really been able to get out there and make a case for herself by herself. She's been required to carry Joe Biden's baggage. But as a candidate on her own, can she make an argument for herself without having to be shackled or burdened with defending Biden and his record or lack thereof? So that would be the arithmetic that they would be running for in her case. And what I'm saying is that I just find it to be very daunting that she would get up and abandon that because she's still the incumbent. Well, regardless of everything, she's still the incumbent.
Right. I don't think she would be, even if she tried to make a case for herself, because she doesn't project well. So that's why I said she would be willing to be VP again for another 4 years until she get caught up to speed on foreign policy and everything else that sitting in that seat entails. She'd be willing to do that because she loves the job. It's carte blanche at your beck and call and Secret Service protection everywhere you go. She'd be willing to do that. And if she did that and they happen to win, what will happen in 2028, unless somebody came along in the Democratic Party who had the skill set of Clinton, Bill, or Obama, she would be on the ticket because they're trying to run a female to become president anyway. She would be on the ticket in 2028 if she met sacrifice. If she said, "Look, we got in the room and we decided for the good of the party, we're going to run such and such." Now he knows he can pick his cabinet, but
in her case, if she gonna make she's already demonstrated. She doesn't have Obama put together a political machine of his own. He came from Chicago. Biden, of course, historic Democrat. He's got that. Clinton's had their own machine. Kamala Harris doesn't have a political machine. She hasn't even been building one. So she doesn't have the option of waiting until 2028. If something happens to Joe and he cannot finish his presidency for whatever reason, she got to make her move now. 4 years is not going to make her a stronger, more desirable candidate. 4 years is going to make it even worse for her because everybody's going to be like, okay, it's up. They're going to want to put the Biden administration behind them. So if she is going to make a move, it would have to be this election cycle. Other than that, there's nothing else. And I don't think she's slept with enough people to get some of the benefits Obama got out of office. I don't think she's done that one. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 908. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Omar from Trenton.
All right, Omar from Trenton. What's on your mind?
I've heard a lot of people talk about Westmore and some of these other candidates for Obama 2.0, but I think it's another candidate that we haven't brought up. That's a Democrat that does check a lot of boxes for the Obama 2.0 thing. And I think that individual would be the current mayor of Newark, Ras Baraka.
Okay, here's the problem. I mean, a mayor can't leapfrog the president. I mean, we already tried that with what's
No. I'm not talking about currently this election year. What I'm talking about, as far as when you said they would have to go in front of Obama, because currently Ras is running for governorship of New Jersey. He's trying to get the governorship. He's trying to get Phil Murphy out of the seat.
In that case, then you're looking 8 years from now, not certainly not 4 months, and definitely not 4 years, and certainly not 4 months. You'd be looking 8 years from now. So that would be a long term. Even if that did occur, that would be a long term prospect.
Well, I'm just saying right now, it looks like if there was going to be something that fills that particular template, that's the only one I see that actually probably checks the boxes for what they may want.
He would have to, generally speaking, when you're a governor, you're going to have to at least complete one term before you would try something like that. And it would have to be a pretty popular one for you to go from mayor to governor and to be in the spotlight like that. It would have to be a pretty popular person or pretty personable. That's why Cory Booker, was doing everything he could coming out of Newark. So that's why he was doing that. The cat you're talking about here, like I say, he hasn't really done that. So it would be years before you could get something like that loaded up in that regard, because he would have needed to start by now. If you wait until he becomes governor to do it, you've really kind of waited too long. So either that or he's kind of inept and it's not working. But I don't know. Let's check back in 6 or 7 years and see. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. I'm talking about this as far as the current election cycle. Yeah. But long term, I mean, who knows? There could be anybody else there. We'll see. Caller from area code 706. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
So this is Bomani calling from Augusta, Georgia.
All right, Bomani from Augusta. What's on your mind?
I was just making an observation. First of all, thank you for taking my call, and I appreciate the broadcast. I agree 100% with everything that you're saying. But I was making an observation in terms of the Republican Party and the Democratic Party and how they are bringing Indians in as a buffer class. So I saw Ramaswamy, we saw Nikki Haley, and then now we're seeing Kamala Harris, who tries to play both sides, and they're not doing a good job. I don't think they've won, and I don't know who's garnering for the black vote. I don't think nobody really is until the Democrats have I guess they have a track record of trying to get the black vote at the last minute and act like, it doesn't matter until they realize that we really do matter. But I'm just looking at the buffer class that they're trying to put into place on both sides because it's two wings of the same bird. And
I mean, that's a long-term strategy there, but they're going to continue doing that. Like I say, those are seeds that they're planting, and they got to wait for those to finish blooming, but definitely they think they're down the road for it, so absolutely. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller from area code 323. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, good evening, big brother Jason. This is brother Elijah calling from Yankee Stadium, Bronx, New York.
Nigga, what are you doing at the baseball game? What is going on?
I have my nephew all weekend from D.C., so we going back tomorrow, big brother.
Okay. All right, what's on you? Elijah just goes anywhere and everywhere he can. Anywhere and everywhere except Family Dollar. Anyway, what's on your mind?
Yeah, but anywhere I go, black empowerment comes with me, big brother. But I got a question for you. Are the Democrats really serious about this idea? I'm not even talking about Kamala's black credentials, but are they really serious about this idea about even considering this nasty woman to be even a thought of being a presidential candidate? People, Professor Black Truth called this out about this woman, about her dealing with a man 30 years older than this woman downtown Willie Brown. This woman didn't use her degrees to get to the top. She used something else. I'm not going to say the rest to get where she's at.
Well, I mean, as far as their options right now for the Democrats, all options are on the table because I already said what the issue is. Biden was in front of a microphone with no filter and he basically imploded. You've got
Yes,
4 more months. If Biden has so much as one more incident like that occur, the campaign's over for him. And the Democrats are trying to, they know 4 months is long enough for that to happen 3 or 4 times. So they're bracing themselves now for what do we do? So all options are on the table. All options.
Yes, sir.
Including Kamala Harris. All options. She's one of the least desirable options, but she's already in office. She already has name recognition. They're worried about the sister girl vote. So you can't just dismiss her altogether. You can't. And the fact that you're seeing more media outlets starting to talk about her would seem to suggest that there are people in the party who are saying, hey, we're not going to just dismiss her out of hand.
Yes, sir.
So that's what I predict.
Look, Doug, brother. Yes, sir. Hey, brother, thank you so much. All right? Be one to you and the family. Thank you so much, brother.
All right, Black first here as well. Let me get caller from area code 510. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Lonnie Ford from Danville, Illinois.
Okay, Monty from where in Illinois?
Danville.
All right, Monty from Danville, Illinois. And what's on your mind?
It's Kamala Harris. The Democrats have their candidate selection process set up so that there's not time to insert Kamala, by my understanding.
It would be very, it can happen, but you're correct. The process is set up in such a manner in which it makes it very difficult to do so. So it could happen, but you would basically have to have the unanimous support of, if Biden doesn't want to step down, you would have to have the unanimous support of his cabinet, the Democratic Party, and the Democratic National Convention. The Democratic political leadership, and basically everybody would have to get together and say, yeah, you going whether you want to go or not. There's a tremendous peril in that, because if he doesn't want to step down and you have to wrest power from him, what the hell does that look like to the electorate? Now the whole party looks janky. So you're correct. It would be very, very difficult to remove him unless everybody just gangs up on him, which can happen. But boy, that's not a good look.
Okay. And secondly, on the United States Court of White Supremacy, thank you, Brother Neely Fuller, for teaching us to call things what it is. At this point, I've added the United States Court of White Supremacy to my codified word guide. And I think we need to add that to the narrative in terms of calling things just what it is. Instead of democracy, we got a system of white supremacy. And that's all I had to add.
Thank you very much for giving us a call now. We appreciate that. Like I said, if they want to get rid of him, the whole party would basically have to unite. His cabinet that's currently serving him would have to go into revolt. The political leadership, Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, the Democratic National Convention, all the delegates who choose the candidates. So basically from the state level all the way up to the cabinet, you would have to have a Democrat Party in revolt against him. And if he doesn't want to give it up, you're going to have to take it from him. And it's going to be public and ugly and messy. And remember, I explained this before. If you do this, you better win the election. Because if you have to go into a knockdown, drag out Alabama boat front brawl with him to get him out of there, whoever wins, you better go all the way and you better win the election, because if you remove him from office and you lose, everybody's going to blame you for the loss. Well, you took it from him and you didn't even win. We probably could have won. That you can't prove a negative, so they'll be blaming you if that happens. So there's not a big incentive for getting into this brawl with him to yank power from him if you're not certain you're going to win that election. And nobody's going to do that. Nobody thinks they're going to do that. Nobody thinks they're going to cakewalk to the presidency. No, after taking that from him, nobody's going to do that. And nobody wants to blame, if this coup fails, nobody wants to blame for it. Caller from area code 40484. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason. This is Rashid from KOP.
Okay, she from where at?
King of Prussia.
Okay, King of Prussia and outside of Philadelphia. And what's on your mind?
Yeah, maybe a little off topic, but I wanted to know what would be the overall effect on non-FBAs economically when FBAs do get their reparations.
Well, certainly, like I say, I mean, we're not even really thinking about that, to be totally honest. That's not even something that we're concentrating or focusing on. We're focusing on us, so they're going to be doing what they do. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We're focused on us and our mission, focused on how we're going to do it, and we're not looking on the next man's plate. We're looking at what's on ours. Everybody else is pocket watching us and looking at our plate, but we're going to stay focused on what's on our plate. Call from area code 206. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Call from area code 206. Last try. You're on live.
Okay, so my name is Marie.
Okay, your phone is real muddled there. So if you're on speakers or Bluetooth or something, earphones or something else, you're going to need to take those off. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Marie, and I'm calling from Seattle.
Okay, Marie from Seattle. What's on your mind?
So what I want to say, I appreciate your work. I appreciate how you handled the young man that called the other day. And I'm nervous. It's my first time and likely the last time calling, but I appreciate you. The first thing would be Kamala's not even a factor. One, because the Democrats, their base is kind of divided between vote blue no matter who, and because she is so politically impotent when it comes to what really matters, the same way we're looking at Doug, the Bernie Sanders element of the vote blue no matter who is going to be looking at that his tie to the ambitions of AIPAC.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how much focus they would have on that. I will tell you that power abhors a vacuum, and if there is a situation where there's a scramble for the ball without folks having to diminish their own political careers, they're gonna make a play for it. They're gonna run for it if they can do it without it hurting their political careers in the process. I don't see how that part happens. If anything protects Biden, it would be that anybody trying to take his place now, they better win. Because if they don't, people are going to say, yeah, we probably would have won if Biden had stayed. That's a big gamble to take under those circumstances. That's a big gamble to take. I just don't see anybody wanting to risk that.
Yeah. Coming from a Democratic state as heavily as the way that it is in Seattle, and kind of knowing and interacting in political spaces with the young people who are coming from that perspective, they're can I say balls to the walls? They're diehard for their perspective, and Kamala's, she's impotent. She's out of there. They either got to get rid of Biden or sneak her in.
I mean, I don't think they have to. I don't think they'll have to sneak her in. I think that if Biden, for whatever reason, and it would have to be soon. You can't get into August and still be having this conversation. You just can't. You can't have somebody run for president out of nowhere and win it in 60 days unless Trump just goes out there and just picks up a microphone. Hello, my fellow Americans. Nigga, 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 nigga. Just unless that happens, they've been waiting on that for 20 years, and that speech is never going to occur. He'll promote white supremacists and get them a thumbs up, but he's never going to pick up the microphone, show up in blackface like Ted Danson, and just do something crazy. So, no, I'm pretty sure that, barring some serious health ailment on Biden's part, he's going to hold on to his nomineeship. He has no reason to really let it go unless the party gangs up on him, and he knows that would just be messy and ugly. So you're stuck between the devil and the deep blue sea. Biden has no reason to let it go. You would have to take it from him. If he just sits there and says, I'm not going nowhere, you kind of just gotta sit with him. Kamala Harris doesn't have enough power to remove him individually, and she doesn't have enough influence in the party to mount a full-scale coup against him. So you're basically stuck with him unless something physically happens where he can't serve, or the whole party just goes into revolt against him. Other than that, no. But you're correct, she is impotent. Here's the problem. Washington State has become like Northern California. It's a really wacky place now, which means that it's not indicative or symbolic of the rest of the country. It's just this really weird place on its own that, loves to have homeless people sitting outside your front door. But it doesn't represent the rest of the country. So if they're judging by what their tastes are, by what the rest of the country would do, especially for a candidate who's already highly unpopular, they're losing before they've even started. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get a call from area code 941. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
It's the Deacon. How you doing, brother? Good evening. Good evening.
Okay, Deacon, where are we calling from?
Yes, sir. Man, we calling from Palmetto, Florida. Yes, sir. It's the ghetto. But I just left old Bible study on a Sunday. Yes, sir. And I got an issue with this whole Kamala thing because the Deacon feel like this, whether it's Kamala or whoever in this Democrat seat, we need somebody that's going to be not anti-black family and black children and black heterosexual men. See, we ain't got no voice in that Democrat Party that's really speaking and dealing with issues that we dealing with as black men and children. I know they throw the women, the single baby mothers, their little niblets and all the little goodies and the stamp card and everything. But what about us? And I feel like a lot of us, and what you're doing a good job at, we need to be holding whoever going to be running for office accountable for not just speaking for their behalf. We the only race that's like this, to where everybody just got their own agenda going on, but why you can't speak up for the whole race? And that's the issue. Cause man, we in bad shape. We in bad shape, and it's bad over here, and it's bad all across this country. But I'm sick of the Democrats, even with the Roland Martins, all these people who just want us to vote and vote for nothing, while everybody else eat off the hog and we suffer around here.
Well, look, I mean, these are not candidates that we chose. We didn't choose Obama. Tom Daschle did. We didn't choose Wes Moore. Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer did. We didn't choose Kamala Harris. Joe Biden did. And the party did. These are not folks who got grassroots support. That's why whenever they actually attempt to get it or use it or leverage it, it's never there for them. So the party knows they're not really viable without their help in that regard. Got some feedback going on there, brother, but thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. I don't know where all that echoing is coming from, but thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get called from area code 984. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what up, Jason? This is Shy coming out of Durham, North Carolina.
Okay, hey, Shy. I think you said Shy out of Durham.
Yeah, Durham, North Carolina. I'm on this truck. Do it sound messed up?
Okay, what's on your mind?
I want to give you your props, man. 'Cause, man, y'all dudes can damn near brought a whole system to his knees, man. But look, check this out. I feel like some of our own people, man, is, part of the problem, man. It's like, when I try to put, your message on, it's like they reject it or something. Like they, it's like you can't tell them that, and like they still want to keep going with that Democrat. Like, what do you got to say about that? Like the people that just refuse the message, even though you put it right in their face.
Our job is to make sure that we keep pushing our line and pushing our agenda. You have mass market products, and then you have luxury products. We're a luxury product. When you are succeeding, everybody else follows you. Do not concern yourself with what the masses are doing. That's not how you lead. You don't lead by following the masses. You lead by getting in front and giving them something to follow. So remember, their force of habit is to keep repeating like a parrot, Democrat, Democrat, Democrat. That's not a strategy, nor is that a plan. So this is not a popularity contest where we sit up here and listen to folks' feedback. That's not what we do. We have an agenda. You push the agenda, and we're not taking feedback. So don't get yourself caught up in that. I told you all this a decade and a half ago. This is science. If 10% of a population goes in a certain direction, it's a mathematical inevitability that the majority will eventually have to go in that direction too. That's why we have the conversation we do today. So all the folks still talking about Democrat, just remember you're always going to have some diehard people who are just going to lock down where they are because they're so hopelessly invested in it. Your job is to hold the line where you are. That's your job. Because remember, at the end of the day, they know they don't actually have anything to base it on. They're supporting something simply because they've been told to do it. That doesn't take character. That doesn't take character or principle. And that's why when you press them and you stress them on it, it falls apart. But I don't want you going round and round forever with them either. Your job is to make sure you keep pushing the line. You're together with like-minded people. That's where your strength is. And lastly, these folks are not strong in that regard. When they lose, they're going to fold like laundry. Just remember that. They're strong about it while they think they're winning. The second that they lose, they're going to crumble too. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get a call from area code 334. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, man? This is Chris from Birmingham, Alabama.
All right, Chris from Birmingham. What's on your mind?
What's good, man? First of all, I want to say I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller. And I just have to say, I think the Democrats have found themselves in an intricate web of their own creation. They're in a multi-layered conundrum, and I say this because of that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but anything short of the 25th Amendment, Biden has to concede to step down himself. With that being said, I feel like for some reason the Biden family, and in particular Jill Biden, I think they're kind of coercing Biden to keep going. And I think he'll listen to his family before he listens to any outside, power structure or any operative from the Democratic establishment. So my question to you is, do you think the outside pressure that the Democratic establishment and, operatives in the Democratic Party that they're placing on Biden, do you think that will supersede what his family is coercing him to do as far as continuing to stay in office?
I don't put a lot of stock in the idea that his family is doing that. This man's been in politics for 50 damn years. So, brother, have you ever, I don't know if you've had any elderly relatives or whatever, have you ever tried to get them to stop driving, stop putting stuff too close to the furnaces? Have you ever tried to do that? If you have, then it's like, okay, they're not even president. And you can see what's happening there. So what makes you think this is any different? In his case here, certainly. Also, another thing, all of us had to deal with this. You got some elderly relatives, and they think simply because of how old they are, they know every damn thing. They said, I was carrying you, I was dragging you around when you was a baby. Okay, well, you can't even lift your foot anymore. So it's that kind of situation. So what I'm saying is, why would you think it would be any different? In Joe Biden's case, he's got power. He's been there all this time. As far as he's concerned, you all are children. He knows this better than you. Right. He meant that. I've been here. I know this. I've been around the block. I'm used to politics. It comes, it's sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. So that doesn't take the family to do that. Now, what would sway him is not the family. I mean, that could. But no, what will sway Joe Biden is if the party takes him behind closed doors and like, yeah, we've made a decision. We made a decision. This ain't going to work. But Biden knows the process because he's one of the people who helped make it. He knows that the whole reason that the convention system is set up the way it is now is specifically to make it difficult to remove a candidate. For those of you who want to go back and check your Democratic National Committee history and whatnot, it's only been a few decades you've had the type of system you have right now with the delegate system. And they did it on purpose. So I keep reiterating that to people. This was done on purpose. So yes, it is hard to remove a candidate once they're in office. Furthermore, they're making you wait till the last damn minute, which of course makes anybody else jumping in politically unfeasible unless just all hell is broken loose. That's the only way that would work. So you don't have an all hell breaking loose scenario, not just yet. Well, Jason, what does all hell breaking loose look like? 9/11, and that ain't what we got. So that's not happening. Biden doesn't want to give it up. Why should he? Because here's the other thing. Think about this from a historical standpoint. If Biden resigns, he will go down in the history books with one other president, Richard Milhouse Nixon.
Yes, sir.
Now, do you think Joe Biden got into politics for half a century and he was there when Nixon was doing that garbage? You think he got in all this time so he can end up next to Nixon? I don't think so.
Right, I feel you.
So that's what I'm saying. I usually try not to get too wonky in these things and too historically off in the woods in it, but I want y'all to understand there's levels to this that would make this very unattractive for a candidate to do that. So I don't know. Everybody keeps talking about Jill Biden and she's the one pulling the strings and whatnot. I'm like, oh, nobody said that before this year. Nobody brought her up as doing that before this year. So they're groping for straws. No, you have an old politician who's an old man. He's got the seat and you can't force him to give it up. As far as he's concerned, you're overreacting and you need to calm down. That's his perspective. You need to calm yourself down. He needs to stay steady. We just had a bad evening. Nigga, you need to calm down. And give me that steering wheel back. Anybody who's had to fight with their great grandmama over something like this, you've seen that before. Stop. I got this. Here we are.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, man. Thank you, brother.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Like I say, folks, you don't have to overcomplicate it. He's 80-something years old. Have y'all ever had to deal with some 80-year-old folk in your family? This nigga ain't putting the table salt back where it belongs. He's got clothes hanging up over the heater in June. I mean, don't even talk about automotive. Don't even talk about dealing with the car. Oh, that's a white knuckle incident. So just, okay, you see that in your family. He's sitting in the president's chair. It's like, don't tell me nothing. Do you know how many campaigns I've been through? And this is nothing. Give me that microphone back. So, you sitting over there in the corner like, oh, God, here we go. So it's just that simple. Because the alternative is telling him to sit his ass down. Have you ever tried to tell the old folk in your family, you sit your ass down, let us run this damn thing, because that's all they hear. I want my independence. They become like children. It's like, I want my independence. Okay, come on now. I'm talking about they didn't run the car into a wall 3-4 times. They can't put the shopping cart back where it was. They pushing the buggy down the hallway, down the aisles backwards. It's a mess, but if they got it, you're going to have to wrestle that out of their hands. They're going to be yelling the whole damn time. Folks, it's really just that now you got two old people, Biden and his wife. If she is contributing to it, it's because they both believe they've been here long enough. The rest of y'all just need to shut the hell up and let them run this damn thing. But I meant what I said. They're looking at all of us saying, you need to calm down. I've been running campaigns for 50 years. You need to calm down. By the way, I think his sister, who's been running a bunch of his campaigns, is up there with him too. So they're like, oh, we've been doing this half a century. Y'all just sit down. You're overreacting. Calm down. We'll take care of this. And this is where we at. Caller from area code 678. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Kathy Jones calling from Winder, Georgia.
All right, Kathy from Wanda, Georgia.
Winder. W-I-N-D-R.
All right, Winder, Georgia. All right, and what's on your mind, Kathy?
Yes. First thing I'd like to say is that I appreciate your intelligence, I appreciate your courage, and I appreciate the passion that you have for your people. Next thing I'd like to say is that I despise this nation. I think that it hates us, and in turn, I hate it. But what I want to say, I want to just make a statement, and I'm going to make it real quick. I believe that nothing will go as anyone thinks that it will go. I think that Kamala Harris will be a non-elected president. And what I would like for you to talk about just for a moment is that if Biden dies within, the next 4 months and Kamala becomes the president, and then they do a red flag 9/11, would she then have the power to prevent any election from happening?
No.
and I'm gonna.
No, as far as a martial law situation would be concerned, you would have, and we already dealt with this before after 9/11, but we've dealt with this throughout history. What would have to happen for that to occur is basically you would have to have both chambers of commerce. Remember, the Constitution, the framers of the Constitution deliberately set things up this way to make that scenario that you're naming right now difficult to achieve. You would basically have to have the House and the Senate be in lockstep with the presidency. And when was the last time that ever happened? So even under a nightmare scenario, it would be extremely difficult to get them to go along with you on that. We saw that after 9/11. Yeah, they bent to a certain degree, but it's like nobody was trying to crown George W. Bush king of anything. So, yeah, you want to streamline things, certainly from the defense apparatus, but as far as they get to make all the rules, no. As far as suspending elections, everybody knows where you're going with that. No, they're not going to do that. It would also be extremely difficult because today, mass communication is easier than it's ever been. You try that one, Twitter goes on fire. Facebook goes on fire. Instagram goes on fire. YouTube goes super nuclear. If you try that, everybody would rise up in unison because and Alex Jones would have a second lease on life. So there are just too many things that would just make that completely untenable. Furthermore, you're not going to get the states to go along with it. You think that's going to fly in Texas, Alabama, Florida, Arkansas? You think that's going to fly there? So it's like, no, you couldn't get them to shut down for the pandemic. So theoretically, I can understand for those of us who are a little bit older how that would work, but as time has gone on, it's harder to get that machinery to move in place. It's one thing back in the 1800s or the early 1900s, but there's too much of a national conversation and too many people who are looking at it now, and there's too much to be gained by fighting them over it. By the way, being contrary just for the sake of being contrary. Let's go ahead and deal with Kamala Harris. Now, somebody just asked, I just got off the phone with somebody who was talking about Jill Biden running the Biden White House. But remember, before now, they were saying that Kamala Harris was running the Biden White House, and that's garbage. Kamala Harris is not that smart. What? Kamala Harris is not that smart, she's not that slick, and she's not that competent. The only vice president who was running a president's administration was Dick Cheney running George W. Bush's. And it was obvious to everyone. When you saw him sit down in front of 60 Minutes, that guy wasn't stupid, bumbling over his words. You could tell he knew more about the damn policy and the agenda than the guy sitting in the Oval Office. Everybody knew, we all knew what it was when we saw Dick Cheney there. That's the guy actually running this. We all know it. That's why when you talk about the 9/11 cover-up and being an inside job, David Addington, John Woo, you all can go look it up. We're talking about David Addington. Well, that was Dick Cheney's lawyer. Not Justice Department. That was Dick Cheney's. So the policy after 9/11 came from the vice president and his lawyers. You don't even know who Kamala Harris's lawyer is. You don't even know who that is. So that's the reason why I can understand why folks were saying that before. Now they're saying Jill Biden's running. Okay, both of those things can't be true. Kamala Harris, a year ago they were saying Kamala Harris is running it because Joe's too stupid. Now it's Jill Biden's running it. They can't both be true. Two women running it, that's not going to work. That's not going to happen. So, no, neither one of them is running nothing. Joe Biden is running it. Jill Biden is backing him because he's the guy sitting there. And they're going to ride this till the wheels fall off. They have a vested interest because Hunter is dead meat without his dad. He can't even keep himself off the federal docket. He's dead meat without his father. So he has a vested interest in pushing this till the wheels come off because without his dad, he's a goner. Kamala Harris is not running anything. Hell, she couldn't run her own campaign for president.
Well, let me say this real quick. When it happens, I'm going to call back in the show and we're going to talk about it. How about that?
Okay, the show. All right, I'll be waiting. You are
Thank
more
you so much.
You are more than welcome. You are more than welcome.
It.
No. You are more than welcome to give me that call back. I'd like, if it happens, by all means, the phone lines are open. Give me a call back.
Okay, now it is July the 7th, 2024, and the time right now is 9:54. I'm going to remind you.
Okay, man. Well, it can be July 7th. It can be OnlyFans 25th, but whichever one it is, you can give me a call back when you're there. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Yeah, baby, look, I got a feeling you're gonna be opening your OnlyFans before Kamala get that call. So just don't worry about what today's date is. Just make sure you hitting the gym and make sure you got that slingshot. Let me get caller from area code 314. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, Jason. My name is Michael. I'm calling from Columbia, Missouri.
Okay, I'm not sure if you're on speakerphone or Bluetooth. It sounds like you're speeding down the highway, but I'm having some difficulty making it out. So you might want to take that off. Don't flip yourself over.
I am on the road. Hold on. Let's see. I try to do it like this. Sorry about that. So yeah, my name is Michael. I'm calling from Columbia.
Okay, y'all. He keeps switching cosmic frequencies. Okay, what's your name? Where you calling from?
So these cars, they are automatically switched to Bluetooth. My name is Michael. I'm calling from Columbia, Missouri.
All right, Michael from Columbia, Missouri. What's on your mind?
Hey, Jason. I was calling because yesterday I was basically sitting on a podcast, and I was having a discussion about reparations and who I planned on voting for, this upcoming election. And it was a podcast with like 3 tethers and 1 boomer. And they were under the impression, because of a split that happened between the FBA and ADOS, that we lost our chance for getting reparations. And they were kind of happy about it, like jovial and everything. And I was like, no. I think that the reparations movement is going strong, and that we're going to stay on task. They were basically trying to tell me that the Democrats will just wait us out, and they will infiltrate us with more and more, asylum seekers, and they won't ever have to address our issue of reparations. And I just wanted to get your thoughts about that.
Well, just remember, anybody's going to try to advocate for their best interests or what they want in their best interests, even if it is unrealistic. The whole thing for you is just to be cool with the fact that they're stating it openly. You start talking like that openly, and that's a clear sign of desperation. So if I were you, I wouldn't really worry about, polluting in my mind with so much of that there, because there's no penalty for them being wrong. Do you see what the issue is? So folks who talk crazy and talk dumb and just being insightful, trying to incite for the sake of being inciting, there's no penalty when they're wrong. When they lose, when they're wrong, when they look stupid, they just crawl back into their holes. And that's what we've seen for the last 4 years. When they do look stupid and lose, they're not going to come out and poke their lips out. They're just going to disappear. So remember, powerless people are very, very good for trying to cheerlead for themselves. They will not show up when it's time to say, hey, by the way, how'd that work out? So just look for them to be quiet. As far as the split is concerned, I'm not really sure exactly what was meant by that necessarily. What I will say is that we've been carrying the reparations banner just fine. All the folks there who tried to ride the wave there before, nobody's talking to them. Nobody's asking them for their insights. Nobody's looking for them to show up. They're not sitting up here moving no weight. They don't got any people showing up or whatever. They're making YouTube videos that 5 people watch. So I can't really sit up here and put them next to us. Can't do it. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get a call from area code 617. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason, it's Mike from Beckett, Massachusetts.
All right, Mike from Beckett, what's on your mind?
Just every time you do this show, I call in because I want to say that you got a amazing perspective, and tonight, as usual, you're right. Biden is not leaving. He has an inner circle, and they're tight. And all these people, all these candidates, they'll have their little inner circles, and Game of Thrones, House of Cards, whatever. It's all real. And there's a nice clip on CNN with Van Jones and Bakari Sellers that says it. We're running Kamala either way. It's her. Biden's the. The shell.
Like I say, all I can say is Van Jones got $100 million and he got what to show for it. Jeff Bezos gave him $100 million, and what does he have to show for it? So other than showing up on CNN, I would challenge anybody to show me, by the way, what kind of weight is he moving and what kind of influence has he got? So he could, like, once again, as I said, powerless people can afford to say silly things because there's no punishment for it. Van was sitting there back in Biden all this time, is totally blown up in his face. Now he's talking about other people. He's getting paid to be wrong. You couldn't keep your job or your inheritance if you were incorrect this many times. You couldn't do it. So he's not an expert on anything. He hasn't proven that he is. His job is to be a safe Negro on their cable TV networks who's non-threatening. And he's very good at being non-threatening. He's also very good at being non-correct. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. By the way, folks, I've gotten 6 emails from the Biden campaign today alone. Used to only get 1 or 2 a day. Ever since that debate, we're getting like 6, 7 emails a day from them. Every couple hours, there's another email showing up. That is not the look of confidence. Caller from area code 213, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jay, how's it going? Second-time caller, long-time listener. I'm not going to give you my name because what I'm about to say is about to be so controversial that I don't want the feds coming after me because they think I'm from the future or anything like that. But I believe that the obvious game plan with for the Democrats, I mean, it's so obvious what they're going to try to do.
Let's just stop here for just a moment. Let's try this one more time. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is L.A. Trey, and I'm calling from Los Angeles.
All right, L.A. Trey from Los Angeles, and give us the Reader's Digest version, not the long lecture version, but go ahead.
Reader's Digest version. Democrats know they can't win. What is their best weapon? Their best weapon is to cheat. They've been doing it. They've been throwing it right in front of our face. They're going to cheat. So how they're going to cheat is they're going to hold on to Sleepy Joe for about the next 2 months, and then by October or September, they're going to off them. I don't want to say what the definition of off them is because it could come in many different forms and formats. But then they're going to say we gotta pull the lever, the voting lever for Sleepy Joe one more time. That we got to do it for the Sleepy Joester. They're going to try to go for the sympathy vote. That's my take there. Jay, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
All right, thank you very much for giving us a call here. Well, like I say, folks, I think you got, barring some health event, Biden's going to be your candidate unless there's another major catastrophe publicly like that debate was. But the closer you get to, it's not going to make it to November. The closer you get to September, the less viable replacing him under any circumstances will be. And you're just going to have, this is about to take hold your nose and pull the lever to a whole new level. Can the Democrats, with Bill Clinton, okay, he cheating on his wife and stuff, can you hold your nose and pull the lever? George W. Bush, you got to suck in Iraq, hold your nose and pull the lever. This man is going senile. Can they get you to hold your nose and pull the lever this time? This would be taking it to a whole different level than they ever have, but don't put it past them. Do not put it past them. Meanwhile, for Kamala, I'm like, okay, well, if she's going to go at Joe Biden's neck, she better bring some help. If she's going to go at his neck, she better bring some help because she can't get it to happen alone. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program. On PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo, thank you very much for your support here. To everyone here tonight, Mr. Collington, Grind Time, we got new members here on the channel. Thank you all very much for your support here, especially those of you on for the 8 a.m. crowdfunding here. We are in the last 2 days of the crowdfunding here. We've been doing great in this regard, but we have a long way to go here because I want us to outdo what we've previously done. You still have time. We have 2 days left on this. For those of you, if you might have been having issues with being able to contribute, sometimes it may trip on that. Don't worry about it. Give it a little bit of time and try it again. But it will take it there. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we are here. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, go check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work, 7 a.m., Gentrified Race War, and our upcoming documentary, 8 a.m. The crowdfunding is currently ongoing for that. As you have seen, it's on another level. We have a lot to say and a short time to say it. I want all of you to be a part of that. We're in the last 48 hours. For those of you who wait till the last minute for everything, hey, get yourself out of that Magic City and go ahead and come to our crowdfunding there. It pays higher dividends for that. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program. To my man, 11 FBA 11 and everybody else here tonight, King of Music Moonwalker, everybody else who's contributed, thank you so much for your support. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, Black is the future and the future is uncompromised.